Thank you, y'all, for joining us today. Tonight is the 6th episode of the Iron Seas podcast. I have returned from my home island, and today it will be our full cast plus a special guest. Introducing A.C Pritchard, Royce. Oh, Christ. Definitely Royce, Everly Music, and Herman P. Hunter!
And Royce,
who's this Royce?
Hey guys, I'm 5'4". Oh.
I'm the true goat lover.
The goat lover. That mask is going to get used so much.
Yeah, that sounds explicit and vaguely sexual. I hope it is. Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going. Ironic with Disney at the end of the intro there with that losing $20 billion today.
Woo!
Yeah, that's a big headline.
20 billion. 20 billion there.
Jump change.
Excellent.
Yes.
There we go.
You reap what you sow.
Oh, bro. I meant I never wanted to be the person who would celebrate someone's failure when I got older, but in this case, I'll make a small exception.
It's not someone. It's a corporation.
That's true. An evil corporation has ruined many of the stories that I love and hold very dear.
With the wealth of several countries, so more, please. Lose more.
Absolutely, man.
The sad part is that we have to cheer for an American company destroying itself. You know, that frickin' Disney used to be an icon, and now
it is.
Now it's just a sad joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the old saying: sometimes you got to fall down a hill before you can learn how to walk.
You know,
sometimes you got to get dropped on your head and ran over a couple of times.
Yeah,
just get back up and do it again.
Those people could be roadkill; they still wouldn't learn. So,
Stormcrow, welcome to the show, brother. He's going to his own island. Don't get shot. Love you, man. We got Boncher. Boncher was able to sub for Battsauce and I when we were gone on vacation. I really appreciate it. We got King Bob. We got a couple of sexy double dippers. And I saw, I believe, Alicia here earlier. Yeah, Bert from Birdie and Books, a nice booktube channel. Birdie and Books, Alicia. Thanks for joining us. It's fun. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be very kind of sci-fi and alien focused today. The movie that won the poll by 1%, not one vote, 1% of the poll was Arrival. And so Everly happily put that film in and watch it at normal speed, not double speed.
God, dude, we already owned it digitally. I thought I had the DVD where I could sneak, the 2x speed. No, but then I ordered the stupid thing on YouTube because you have the speed control, paid $4, hard-earned money, rented it, go to the speed control, and guess what it said?
Nope.
No
unavailable.
Nope.
So I ended up having to watch it normal speed.
For you.
I know, right?
To his everlasting joy.
I
few
was not
things.
looking forward either.
Oh.
It's just, I got a shot to be like.
I clenched up and I was hesitant at first because I have fond memories of watching it. I was like, but I do remember it being rather slow and dry. So I clenched up and I hesitated. And then when I went and watched it with my wife, I was like, oh, this is great. I don't know what those guys were crying about.
It is a slow burn, but I really enjoyed it. Herman, you were kind of a last minute addition here, so I don't know if have you ever seen the movie Arrival with Amy Adams?
Yes, I have. It was interesting, but still boring.
It is not a
perfect
edge of your seat,
no,
up your pulse kind of movie.
The aliens, I really like the concept of the aliens.
Yeah,
there was a couple of concepts in there that I did enjoy, but I don't think that they were executed very well. And how the language and the aliens and all that stuff kind of came together. But I
completely feel you guys on that one. So first time watching or repeat watching, first time you guys watched the movie, how long did it take you to kind of figure out what was going on? Kind of with the whole kind of gimmick of the way the movie is structured and what we're seeing, the kind of twist of the movie.
I just thought the guy was a crappy director.
I
I mean, I remember most of the movie like back when, so I don't really remember too much there. So I wasn't really looking forward to rewatching this. I was like, oh, this is gonna be slow. I remember being really stupid. But on rewatch, I actually kind of enjoyed it. I don't know if it's because I'm a dad now or something like that, but like
it might be part of it. Yeah,
it just was like relaxing, and I mean, I still got like the same problems I did have with it back then. There's some things I kind of think were silly or stupid, but like overall, I enjoyed it. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, no, I did too. I enjoyed. My sister told me, oh, you need to watch this movie. You need to watch this movie. I finally watched it with her. I was like, wow. I mean, I figured out the twist about 6 or 7 minutes in, but it was actually a cool movie. And and that brings up another aspect of kind of sci-fi that is part of one of its distinguishing characteristics, and that is the exploration of ideas. And
but was it a twist, or was it really not a twist, but in your mind twist?
That's what I was just gonna say.
No, it's a twist, though, right?
It's a little bit of a twist, but at least they don't try to hide it. In fact, they don't exposit it either, but it is explained, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
It indirectly says, "Hey, this thing." So
I feel like
I thought it was silly. Go ahead.
No, I thought it was silly. I was going to say. I
thought it was silly.
Thing.
No, I thought the concept of it was silly, and I still think that on the rewatch, with the whole understanding a new language can then make you see the future. It's just a little weird.
Normal.
And then also it's normal. And then also here's the thing. Like at the end, she's like, because the aliens want to, prep them to give them this gift, and then so she starts teaching it to more people, teaching the language, so then they can all see the future. And I'm thinking like, how fucking horrifying,
right?
Like,
right.
I mean,
they don't. It's not even seeing the future; it's seeing all of your life non-linearly. So you're like you see, it's like knowing all of it at once, and that also begs the question. It's like these aliens needed our help, and in order for us to help them, they have to help us to help them. It's one of those things like it's like
help
what
me,
came first, the chicken or the egg?
You.
And it's like it creates like this kind of like there's a few things about it I don't quite understand.
It's a paradox a bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. It's like, man, is it the movie that's twisted, or is it only in our mind?
It's funny. You're talking about paradox, and that opening shot, you can see out the back window of her house.
Yeah.
Out there in the water, 2 places to park a boat. It's paradox.
Hell yeah, paradox. You're right. There's a paradox.
In your dreams, those 2 spots for 2 different boats, they mean something really significant.
I actually had to get back to that point. The future. Yeah, the whole thing with like the time is linear, but also it's not linear once you learn this language because you can see everything. I thought it was kind of an interesting idea. I'm like, I'm kind of with you, but there was just the first time I watched it, I didn't remember any of that stuff. And I forgot most of it, which I usually do with movies that I'm not into. And then I watched a half-hour, I think it was Heavy Spoilers, was the YouTube channel where they did a breakdown.
It's a good one.
I'm watching it, and they're showing like the scenes, and they're talking about, I'm like, wow, this is so profound. And they're talking about the symbolism here, and this ties into that theme. I'm like, whoa. And then I'm rewatching it, and I'm like, whoa. And then in the movie, as I'm watching it, the guy's like, oh, do you see that tree over there? Do you know what that means? And I'm like, wait. And they kept explaining things throughout the movie. And I had thought that they didn't. I had thought they just showed us things and we figured it out. But instead they're like, that means
it just makes you a beta cuck.
Hey, Mr. Peterson has joined us on the podcast.
The whole thing about paradoxes and all this associated stuff is that it's usually experienced by people who clean their room. So get in there and clean your room. Fuck up.
It's not nothing.
Ask that guy if he knows what the word for room is in Sanskrit.
Yeah, it's a matter of forced perspective, and studies show that your perspective needs to be forced there, bucko.
So I want to talk about like that beginning, because like a lot of that shit was stupid, especially with like the trope of the military just being dumb. Is pretty annoying. So he comes to see her, and he's like, oh yeah, you're super smart, and you got a TS clearance, so we can use you. And I'm like, okay, so if she doesn't have a top secret, you can't use her.
Also,
and then she's
a
like,
giant spaceship in the sky. You think people don't know about it?
We don't want the secret to get out.
Yeah, we don't want it to become a tourist site. And I'm like, a tourist. We said a tourist site for everyone with a TS clearance. And I'm like, it's not how any of that works. What are you talking about?
This is
there's a giant alien butt plug in the sky,
and then
we want to keep it secret.
There's a mile-high suppository floating over a lake.
Actually, with that alien spaceship, it was going to be a circle, and they thought that would be too on the nose, so they changed the shape.
Heavily, I'm so glad you watched that.
Into a butt
That's a
plug.
very good. That's a very good breakdown.
At least according to Heavy Spoilers, if they could just be making stuff up, I didn't fact check any of it. So,
and then Forrest Whitaker, when he's like, "What's with these words? They're kindergartner words. Like, why are you going to start with that?" I'm like, really? Yeah. Like, you need to explain how we don't understand language. Like,
them. We need to communicate. What do you mean? That's the whole reason we're here.
Right. What do you mean you can't learn just from a sound? You need to see them? What? It's a new language? Like, fuck, dude. Oh. like as if her saying that she wants to go to there or what, I don't know. It was too much. I was like, this is ridiculous. But.
We got 24 hours before we break out the nukes. Bye.
oh yeah. It all she had to make a phone call that she forgets that he has to remind her about him reminding her. I'm like, I'm a little. It's a little bit to wrap your mind, but as a concept and the way they explored it, I was reasonably happy with the execution, and I thought the idea was pretty neat. I like the idea of extra dimensional beings, like the book by Michael Crichton, Sphere, kind of goes into that idea. Like it's not what they think it is, but they're talking about like, well, what if it's like a third or like a fourth or fifth dimensional being? It could be something we wouldn't even understand.
I certainly hope the book was a hell of a lot better than the movie, because Sphere as a movie sucked.
The book is it's not his best, but it's a lot miles better than the
I just about put my fist through the frickin' TV monitor at the end of that.
Sphere by the book Sphere by Michael Crichton. I believe it was Samuel L. Jackson in that.
Yeah, it was Sharon Stone. It was Sharon Stone. It was Dustin Hoffman and somebody else.
How could they F that up? A star-studded cast.
Back to the movie.
They have an Oscar winner.
Back to the movie. Stay on topic.
Anyway, Sphere. We're talking about Sphere now.
You know, that actually ties in because I felt like a lot of the ideas were there, but they didn't want to dive deeper in and let the audience figure it out. I think they kind of held your hand in place they need to. Even the language these aliens speak, they can't figure out. They're like, our words are just these symbols that move left to right and sometimes right to left. But they make a circle. I was like, well, if they're talking in a circle, wouldn't they be talking in like a sphere? Like something even more complex? A circle is not really that complicated.
Which they do touch on.
Like, no, dude, because time it's like Ouroboros. It's a circle, you know? It's like, okay.
A lot of it
we're starting.
Is Freudian subliminalism.
No, and then like, come on, the guy like who's in there with the aliens for like weeks or months or however long sees that they're completely non-hostile, and he's like, I gotta bomb these, my wife's scared.
Yeah.
They're clearly violent extremists. I believe they voted for Biden.
Yeah.
How'd they let this guy near them in the first place? He's unhinged. Like, come on, guys. Like, you can't make the military that incompetent, especially in a universe, in a storytelling world where like people are supposed to be competent. Like,
guys, don't worry.
I do excuse that a little bit. I do excuse that a little bit because a lot of different people react to even much more common things than that in very odd ways sometimes.
Yeah, this guy's got like the highest clearance, would have been specifically selected from thousands of people. Like, you can't tell me they just picked up the Joe Schmo PFC off the fucking.
I feel like that angle was just shoved into the movie because they're like, guys, I got this great scene where they're on whatever that vehicle is, that construction site. So it goes, okay, and it moves this fast, and you feel like you're there with them, and it goes on for way too long, and people are falling asleep. How do we break that up? And like, bomb? Like, let's bomb something. That's fine.
Yeah.
Wake them up. A little bit of suspense.
I do feel like this kind of movie would have been better experienced as a book. Like, because you can dive into the ideas deeper. You could be in people's heads a bit more.
Wasn't it a
Heavily.
book? I think it was an adaptation, if I'm correct.
I'm almost
Probably
positive it was a book.
It was a book, yeah.
I have.
Heavily, how did you
it was a
watch
short story. It was a short story of some sort. I remember from that thing we watched. Yeah.
Yep, short.
Did you watch it on like a clean TV with a good sound system?
Me?
Yeah.
Or is it a crappy TV? Heavily.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, it's like I think it's like a 85-inch, and we have like
Okay,
a $4,000 surround system.
I was
No,
gonna say-
kidding. It's a regular TV. It's like a 45.
Evely, just tell me when to stop.
Sounds
Are
like
you
somebody's
are you
trying.
serious?
trying-
Wait,
trying-
whoa, let's go back to.
You know what is a real missed opportunity of the movie? It's and like I said, like in our chat, like this technically isn't a first contact movie. I'm like, why are they not going to show this the first contact? Come on. And not only that, if you're going to bring scientists into the picture, where you're gonna be like, hey, you guys got like 2 minutes, no briefing. Like, we're not going to tell you what they look like. You're just going to surprise you. Or you're hyperventilating? Oh,
They look like giant
prep time.
Lovecraftian ink splooges, and they ink at you. They smoke at you.
That actually touches on what I was going to say, Kahuna, about the Lovecraftian thing. The whole movie came off as like a really good example of doing Lovecraft in like a wholesome way, if that makes sense. Like it's still really unsettling.
Because they weren't malevolent. They were very benevolent creatures, which is not
Can
what
you
you
imagine?
expect with the aesthetic.
If you could figure out
of
what the hell they were trying to talk about, yeah.
Right. Can you imagine around the time where the bomb goes off? Could you imagine if the movie instead of the bomb going off, the movie instead takes a darker twist where they're actually making more progress with these things, but then Lovecraft stuff starts happening, right? Because I actually heard a really good theory that they're actually not benevolent. This is actually a very advanced race using their knowledge to enslave humanity. They're saying, we're going to bestow this gift upon you because we need your help.
Come on, that's fun. But
check this out. Check this out. Check this out. One of the first things that like the British Empire did historically is they gave
you're
them
you're writing a better movie. Stop. You're writing your own story at this point. You're not.
I've noticed AC and I do that a bit more than you guys, and that is like if a movie has problems, we're like, well, maybe this is something that could have been happened.
What if
maybe Godzilla was in there? Okay, guys.
A giant cube
King Bob.
And the giant cube is the next level, and there's more aliens.
Actually, that was done.
You got to translate up.
King Bob, I did enjoy it. I am making fun of it, but I did enjoy it.
That actually was done. That was Species.
Oh
nice. Yeah,
where they got a transmission, and it was some genetic stuff, and they created. I forget what's her name. The hot.
Oh yeah,
chick.
Frederick. Species. Yeah, she was smoking back in the day, dude.
Yeah, that ended up being like a praying mantis. Made it and ate the heads off of her.
Oh wow.
Mates.
She was a praying mantis with tits. Nice. Honestly,
yeah,
that would do it.
Well, that's mean.
Natasha.
She was a very attractive praying mantis.
She'd get more mates if she'd like make them a sandwich afterwards or bake something. Be a different movie, but
Well, if the goal is to procreate, eats the head, and then move on, you don't need to make a sandwich for that.
Yeah, eat the head. You can just be nice to the guy and go
she
about
gave
your
him
way.
the old Terminator 3 treatment. It's like,
oh, nice,
Bob. Nice. Anyway, so I guess do we decide? Does it sink or does it float? I think we should vote.
Sinker or floater?
Do we sink or floater?
I'm gonna say float.
Yeah,
one float.
I'm gonna give it a float.
2 float.
Chat, weigh in on this, everybody. Sink or float?
Sink or float on arrival. You have to have seen the movie, and I know all of you. I will check.
Kuna Herman, does it float or does it sink?
I think it barely floats.
Yeah,
it floats. I say it floats. It's it's still an enjoyable experience, and like I appreciated the message they were going for. It just I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I was kind of surprised. I thought it was gonna be a slugfest and boring, but
Natasha Henstridge.
No wonder I couldn't remember the name. There's no way I'd remember that name.
Henstridge. Yeah.
Oh.
I knew that.
Right. So it floats, but it's barely a floater. Turds also float, but
that's kind of what
I was going to say that. But.
They're all turds.
Battsauce, you brought up a point whenever you were talking about it. I just lost my train of thought. It was something with the storytelling that bothered me that you mentioned. I was like, oh yeah, that was it. And now I'm starting to talk and I'm filling in space.
Military.
Yeah, military.
Oh, that was it. Whenever they first get there and they're like, hey, we're putting on these suits. And she's like, you're saying hyperventilating. And they're like, what do these look like? And he's like, you're going to meet them soon. Don't worry about it. I'm like,
yeah, that's dumb.
No. These people, you would brief them. You would let them know. Yeah. And I understand the reason that they do that. And this happens in a handful of books that I've been reading from a audience perspective. Don't tell me, like, let's go along with the ride. And then we see, and then it's more exciting. But I see that sometimes and it bothers me where they have an operation like that they don't explain it to them. I understand why they do it. So as a right, you guys
but like, there's ways to do that. Either just have them be a part of the initial contact, or make it an excuse for them to be there, or
they're in the first team.
Mention that they have a brief and don't tell the audience about the brief.
Okay, there we go.
Right? You don't have to tell everything. You could just say, hey, they got briefed on it. They know it. They're still intimidated. They're still scared. And then like the audience gets to see it first. I mean, this is going to be a lot more useful during a visual representation. But
I think if the ships were not all over the planet and known pretty much by the public right away, the whole top secret thing would have been more prevalent or believable, maybe.
Well, the top secret is just to like be a part of in the base, like in those tents, like a part of that base. You have to have a TS clearance.
This is our special tent.
They're acting like anyone with a top secret would then is allowed on that place. That's not how that works. Like you can't just access anywhere top secret if you have a top secret clearance. There's a huge need to know factor, and not to mention like, okay, let's say she doesn't have a top secret. You're like, okay, we're not going to get the best linguist ever, or are we going to fast track a top secret clearance? Like, the reason it takes so long is because there's a line. If you got alien race coming to your planet, she cuts the fucking line. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, well, I for her having a reason to be there, it did seem legitimate. I felt like they did that.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. She should be there. She needs to be there.
Alternate movie, and there's some guy in the basement that already cracked it months ago, and he's just like, "No, call me." He's like, "Call me." Pick up the phone. I already figured it out.
You shouldn't be jumping lines there, buddy. It's bad, and you'll end up a loser in life.
It got leaked to 4chan, and 4chan figured it out.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Let's use that as a springboard. Talk about one of the other subjects we kind of put it here in our notes. Alien races. How do we feel about the aliens themselves in that movie? And then we could go on to other aliens in different movies.
Yes,
I thought they were interesting, very otherworldly, Cthulhu-like.
I liked it better before they revealed their entire body, because like they were just two on the nose squids.
At first they were like this, and then they're just
at first they were a hand that did squid ink, and then they were just squids that did squid ink. You know,
they said at the top of the head was supposed to remind you of the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That's somebody took that out of there.
And the hand thing is supposed to be like the hand of God. And then when you look at the scene where there's the two of them, it does kind of look like a giant just standing in the fog or something. It's like the hands of God, right?
Oh, I actually like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a whole bunch of symbolism in this that I can. Oh, dude, Everly watched Everly watched the video too. It's all over. Yeah. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, and you're like, oh, this is.
Yeah, a lot of the cinematography, and it was reminded me of a movie called Stay from 2005, where the themes that they're pushing, they do a lot of shots that tie perfectly into it. Even the scene where she sees her daughter, and there's the horse, and they do that depth of field that's way over the top, so the horse is blurred into like the hand thing.
Yeah.
So it's like tying
that was a little bit.
Even the opening shot, they got that jib shot where it's coming up and it has the window pane looking out into the bay where you have a section here, and like the door. It's supposed to be past, present, and future. But if you look at the way that the trees outside are aligned, it looks very reminiscent. So they're trying to constantly give your brain little markers to tie everything together because time's a circle, man. Yeah. It's not linear. Just like everything all at once, but then also
what is time?
It's like a circle.
What is time?
It goes around. It's like a circle. Everything is a circle.
It's like a frisbee, dude. Or a bit of boomerang.
It's like boomerang, a piece of commune, man. You know, you just kind of like hang out with.
That reminds me. There's also theories that not only are they conquering humanity, it's they're also a stand-in for communism because they're trying to make humanity a collective by all thinking the same. Yep.
I know they're trying to have us make peace with the Koreans. Really?
Space
really?
Well, they're gonna need us in the future, 3,000 years from now, when they need a new.
Yeah, what was that about?
slave
3,000
species.
is very specific. Not like 2,995. It's 3,000. Like, all right.
Yeah, when they need a new slave
3,000
species.
years from
I want
now.
I want to see that movie.
I know.
I'm
gonna make an
the
episode.
humans with the gunpowder and shit. Come on.
Yeah.
I will say, like, there were quite a few like alien, like weird time stuff kind of movies that were coming out at the time, and some of them were a lot bigger, like were really big misses, especially compared to a movie like Arrival. Like, there's that one a little bit while back with Chris Pratt. I thought it was just the most meh movie I've ever seen.
Oh, what was that? I
Like
thought
with
the
the
action
white
was
spines and
the Tomorrow
action
War.
was fun.
Tomorrow
yeah.
War. Yeah, it was like a fun movie, but that was about it. Like, yeah,
I wanted more.
It's a popcorn.
yeah, of course,
flick.
yeah.
That's really what it was. It was a popcorn flick, and there's nothing major there, and so I kind of
Potential to be good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love popcorn flicks.
I was
So
going to
I-
ask. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if you guys want to talk about the topics, but the people that have joined me today on the short bus, there's a reason they're here. They're very topical. One of these fucking retards, the 40K universe, can't stay the fuck out of the news cycle. We talked about it like last week, and it feels like there's an update every single week on 40K just screwing over
Citadel, Games Workshop, Warhammer 40,000, and Age of Sigmar. I have one thing to say.
Have you any last words before you walk the plank, sir? You can't do this, you maniac!
That's great.
Oh, and I will say
Superfan is done.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm done. And I'm like, holy shit, man. He didn't even, like, he was still after the revelation of the female custody. He's like, it's okay. Like, it's got some excuses. And now he's like, they're hiring these writers. I'm fucking done.
Well, it's like I have been really deep. I've been a big fan of Citadel and the company and the lore and playing games. And I used to spend 6 and 7 hours in store painting like 3 or 4 days a week and playing games. And my brother and I would do that. It's what we did for a long time. And like that started in like 2005, 2006 and went on for a couple of years. And I've been a fan ever since. But even as recently as like maybe 2012, 2013, that's when things really started going downhill with them. And it's kind of like an avalanche now. You're seeing it more and more frequently. It's like everything's gained momentum. It's getting shittier even faster now, but it started a long time ago with this company.
Yeah.
Like Herman, have you ever been a model collector or painter or were you ever into that stuff? 40K?
Yeah, a long time ago. Well, not 40K, but yeah, a long time ago. Back in the 70s when all this crap was like far, far away.
Back when they were selling it all metal miniatures by weight, not by design or.
Well, no, the D&D minis, those I think like the pewter D&D minis, those are big back then. But a lot of it was the plastic models and all that, and that's what they used. But
well, yeah, like especially with D&D, you kind of had to use your imagination for a while, frankly.
Yeah, well, no, they still had the miniatures, and that was kind of cool. But those things are kind of expensive. That company actually died off, and I think they've been brought back. Matter of fact, there's a place in Michigan, and they did a crowdfunder called Mystic Days. I think that they had some sort of arrangement with the company or whatever was left of the company, where they've made their own sort of like D&D. But it's like way more deadly, and I think they partnered with one of the old D&D artists, and
that's cool.
And I actually backed the hardcovers because I loved all that art. I won't ever play the game, but I bought all the books because I love the art.
Yeah. And
they're bringing out the miniatures. So I know a couple artists that are working on that whole system. But yeah, this don't even get me started. None of this stuff existed prior to like 2000. None of it.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a crap.
And it's so disappointing for me because like I like this company used to be something really, really special. Like we had a large like apocalypse game at the mall. We had 70 or 80 people there playing. Like they had to clear out a portion of the mall just for us to play on like 17 or 18 tables. And it was a pretty special thing. And then like the company started having problems, and basically they did the whole blame game where it's like, oh, it's obviously because we have too many employees or we're paying them too much. So let's just dock their pay, take away their benefits, and make sure we hire shit people from. Oh, okay, that didn't solve the problem. Well, the problem is the material. Yeah, they don't like the material, so we're gonna try to break into the kids' book market with the Warhammer 40K universe.
Yeah.
That had
Good
to be
idea,
like 2013. I'm like, that was the whole appeal to me as a child. Is like, this is not for children. That's why I wanted it. That's why I liked it. It was dark and edgy and interesting at that age. And
it's sci-fi grimdark, but for kids.
Good idea fairies are pretty dangerous in any setting. If you know what I'm talking about, you ever work for a good idea fairy?
And Bobby
you know
started
I mean?
up his chainsaw sword.
And he carves his name in the orc. After decapitating.
In a world where 1,000 psychers are sacrificed every day to keep the cells of a living corpse alive to use as a compass across the universe. We're going to tell a kid's story. Yes.
Dinner with the Emperor.
Same with Magic the Gathering. They should I understand the appeal. I understand the appeal of having a whole market of children, but like maybe not so much gear it towards children. Like, because part of the appeal of Magic was also that really grimy, on the edge art that you got sometimes, that you got.
It's like, oh, this is a little spicy image, or it's like, and that like with something like Magic, it didn't make sense. It's like, because what people would do is they'd get into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and then they'd transfer over to Magic, the mature card game, when they were old enough. That was the whole idea. That's what I saw that time and time again when I was a kid.
Same.
It's like, why are these companies? I think that's the problem. These companies have problems, and they're trying to solve them through all of the wrong methods. Yeah, they have terrible ideas, and this all started all these bad ideas started happening a long time ago, and we're seeing the end result of like a decade and a half, 2 decades worth of bad decisions.
So do you guys know? I'm assuming you guys have never heard the term "a good idea fairy," since I mentioned it kind of blank. All right, so it's an old, it's an old Irish like fae thing, right? That they used to say. Do you ever see I think it was Ella Enchanted?
Yeah.
So that was a good idea fairy, right? For her birthday, she made her obedient because she's like, "That's a great idea. Why wouldn't anyone want to be obedient?" Right? So, what?
Like all women should be, right?
Yeah. Well, right. That's what happened in Ella Enchanted, right?
I mentioned I'm divorced. So you get these people, and they're like, I'm sure once you hear this, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I've worked for people like that. They're a factory of good ideas, and it's like the worst goddamn idea you ever thought of. And those people are in corporations and like solidifying these positions where the ideas are made, and they're just throwing out all these good ideas, and they're just like, everyone around them is like, what is going on? What are you talking about?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily the ideas. I mean, going back like to the 70s, there's a lot of good content came out in the 70s, but like TV movies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch some of the stuff from like, there was a movie, and it was actually a big movie back then. It had starred Darren McGavin. It was called The Night Stalker. And
I've heard of it.
Still probably see it. And it's still, I mean, outside of the fact that it's very dated, it still holds up to this day. It's very well written. And back then it was actually pretty cool to watch on TV. But I saw an interview with the director, and the director and producer, because he kind of held both, and I forget the guy's name, but he said that they used to just spitball ideas, and if something sounded cool, they tried it. And I don't think it's necessarily the ideas; it's the fact that the ideas are crap.
Well, that's the idea.
The ideas are coming. Yeah, they're coming from people who are too disconnected from the product,
or not even that. They're people who have never actually had to like kind of work to get their ideas out there.
So So like where I most commonly will see a good idea fairy, you're working a little in your business, right, at a store or something like that, and then you get a new supervisor. That supervisor probably never worked that type of work before, and here they come with all the great ideas to fix everything, even though they have zero experience in it. And it's to them, they're good ideas, and they have the power, and you just get
bingo.
So, like I said, quotation mark, good ideas, but and then you got all the underlings that are like, dude, there's no way this is going to work, and we know this is going to work. It's like we but they're not the supervisor. The supervisor has an ego.
It also makes me wonder if a lot of this is the fallout from two things: the fallout from the what I call this what was it, self-esteem culture, where you can't damage a kid's self-esteem even though they're a little snot, and
I can damage it.
And the college culture, where and this actually goes into corporate world, where I remember I was working at a very large company, and I used to work for guys that kind of came up through the ranks. I was actually a contractor. And these guys, they knew their stuff inside and out. And then something happened where they were given an option. They were bought out because of the 2008, 2009 recession. And that they backfilled those management positions with dedicated managers. And the dedicated managers
good idea,
went to business school for management. They never actually had to develop anything. And the philosophy at the corporation was all you need to do is know how to manage and be a good manager. And
you also need to know the product, how to do the work, why it needs to be done.
And that position that they held was they were simply getting their ticket punched so they could move up.
And that's exactly what I was kind of talking about. And you said it a lot better.
That was my idea.
Well, if you want to hear more about good idea fairies, in my upcoming book, The Dunce Whisperer.
What happened? Shit. Oh, we lost him.
We have the good idea fairy as a character.
I have an itch too.
Right there.
But I was gonna say, so last week, I mentioned that the female custodian thing might have been Amazon influence, but it seems like from the news that keeps on happening, that doesn't seem to be at all. It's just they've legitimately been hiring woke, for lack of better terms, writers, like people that have
woke
been
writers and consultants for over a decade.
Oh well, like even more out, at least
even more
out up front, where you can see the let's just have 0 white actors for a whole year. Let's see what that's like. It was an actual quote tweet from somebody.
If we flood the market with crap, nobody will notice it in 5 years.
Yeah,
because I'm used to crap. No, it'll still taste like crap.
It makes old stuff really, really good, though. Even the bad stuff is kind of amazing.
Oh
now.
yeah. Like remember when people were all up in arms about the prequel trilogy for Star Wars, and then the sequel trilogy came out, and like
the prequel wasn't that bad.
Perhaps
I'm sure Emily, AC, you guys have you were both in the music industry. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of idea people with terrible shit ideas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So short answer, yep.
And then with Lord of the, when you go back to movies, all the ones that came around the same time as Lord of the Rings, it's like we gotta give those a lot more grace because expectations.
We didn't know how good we had it.
I even say Spider-Man 3 is way better of a movie than people that they make fun of it. I'm like I don't know.
It followed 2 of the best superhero films ever made up to that point.
I'm like, if you put that movie out now, that's like leagues better than what we've been getting. And I'm like, it actually had some pretty good parts to it. There's some cringe, and some poor choices, but
a lot of that was the director's style. I mean, I think that was God, who is that guy?
We got Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi. By the way,
the studio came down pretty hard on him during that movie too. That was part of it.
Yeah, but that was a lot of that he sort of had that I don't want to say pulp, but it was that sort of that
campy
campy. Yeah, he has that sort of like campy style because it's in almost all of his movies, all the way from
The Quick and the Dead.
Before then, going all the way back to Army of Darkness.
Yeah,
all of that. I mean, it's just there, and that's been his style.
And we got great
Dark
memes
Man
from it too.
Yeah.
Like as cringy and how made fun of it was with Tobey Maguire doing his like emo thing. I'm like, yeah, but how great was that for memes? Come on.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
Like culturally,
it
was like cultural,
Maybe we'll do that. We'll put that up on the poll next week. For this week.
Oh well, it's like let's talk a little bit. Like, there's so much negative talk about. Let's talk about some positive things that have come out. It's like I mostly go into things like buying and promoting indie and talking about indie, but I'll like for mainstream stuff. I'll still go back to stuff that I have enjoyed or older stuff. But let's not ignore and let's not halt praise for stuff that's coming out in the mainstream now that's actually worth our time. That's actually worthy of praise. Dune 2,
good idea.
What an incredible adaptation.
Yes.
In comparison, especially when you compare it to anything that's been adapted recently, it's embarrassing how much better it is than most other adaptations.
There are people really got their knickers in a bunch over Dune 1 and Dune 2.
They do.
I personally think it is this generation's
attempt.
Lawrence of Arabia.
And also this generation's attempt at Dune.
False, Frederick.
Next generation will have their attempt at Dune. It'll be a little bit more lore accurate, I'm sure, because this is becoming a thing, right? People care.
Well, I mean, the problem that you have is, dude, is freaking this thing. This is actually a 2-hour movie. If you tried to adapt this book, it's a 2-hour movie. Dune is like 5 times this size.
Oh, Dune
is
no huge. Way. Yeah,
you're probably 10 times this size. There's no way you're going to make that into even a trilogy. You end up having to make. You're going to have to make like 5, 6, maybe 10 movies. There's no movie company out there or production company out there that's going to sign on to that. There's just no way. Lord of the Rings had a real fight trying to get just the trilogy, and how much stuff did they have to yank out of that? We lost the borrow rights. We lost the Scourging of the Shire.
The Shire. That was a
big
one.
They off Saruman like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
One minute he's on top of the world. Next thing you know.
I'll never forget that damn video. But it's like everybody's always complaining about stuff, and I'm there with you because like we want to see things get better. That's why a lot of us create in this kind of in the Iron Age, the indie sphere altogether. But let's not ignore like stuff like Shogun and Dune 2. It's like stuff that is genuinely like of quality. I have no connection.
Gotta watch that Mahler video I sent you.
That's
Fall. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but the Fall Guy, is that what's called? That movie was good because, especially because the director, apparently he's the guy who did Bullet Train, and that was an amazing movie. I thought. I don't know if you guys saw that. It can be released on Netflix.
Is that the word we're using? Amazing. It was a movie.
What, you
didn't watch it?
You didn't like Bullet Train?
I liked it. That's it.
That's it.
Okay. It's not. I don't think it earns my love.
Blue Eye Samurai.
All right.
Sorry, man. I said we were talking about positive, good things that are coming out right now. I don't even know.
I haven't really seen anything this year.
It just makes you a beta cuck.
Against me. I mean, one is the last movie I saw in a theater.
That's gonna leave a mark.
That is going to be abused. That clip is going to be abused as hell.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing it's doing is it's creating a whole indie. It's creating a whole indie movement. Is all the amount of crap that's coming out. I mean, I remember going in and seeing Top Gun 2.
Oh, yeah, that was
Maverick. I love that movie.
I freaking hated Top Gun. I didn't really want to go see Top Gun 2. And compared to the stuff I had been watching, it's like the best movie I saw in a long time because it was just entertainment.
It was the first movie in like 4 or 5 years that I went to theaters I walked out of that movie into the theater and towards the parking lot. I'm like, this is the first time in like 4 or 5 years I'm happy that I went to see a movie in theaters.
Yeah.
That's a pretty amazing thing.
Top Gun did that for me, thankfully, because that last half hour, I wanted to see jets blow up stuff. That's all I wanted to see. They finally gave it to me in the last half hour. The rest of it, whatever, take it or leave it. But I did enjoy it. Another movie I saw in theaters that I left feeling like that was a good movie. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
It's a good one.
I heard that too.
Yeah, it was good.
It was pretty good. I
can't
but
think of a
it
better
wasn't like
animated movie in the past
great.
decade.
I don't know.
I can't name a better animated movie in the past decade, like 3D. I really liked
3D.
Ron's Gone Wrong, but 3D animated movie like Pixar style, I can't think of it.
Well, there's been nothing.
Coco was the last Pixar
Exactly.
movie that I think was worth people's time. Like I
The
watched
Last Dragon?
part of that's Raya the
feel-
Last Dragon. That's Disney.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah,
that
that
movie's
one
fine.
was
I
mid.
don't have a problem
was
with
mid.
that movie.
Raya was mid.
That's exactly right. But mid for Disney is like a step or two above everything else they've been making.
That's true.
Exactly.
Which is so
Because mid
gosh
is not
dang
failing.
embarrassing.
Mid is not a failing grade.
You know, another movie that I thought was very notable, but you had to see it in the movie theater was A Quiet Place.
I wish
good
I
one.
had. I never saw it.
It is a
What?
It's
We got to add that to a list.
it's
guys,
an
you haven't seen-
experimental. It's an experimental, or I should say like an kind of an experimental thing, because if you're in that theater, it is dead freaking silent.
What?
Yeah.
Almost the entire movie, and then when the creatures show up, it's like "Rah!" and everybody's
Yeah, dude.
freaking out.
The
So
movie
it's-
Don't Breathe was similar in theaters. That movie was so well designed.
Herman, I am so glad you brought up A Quiet Place because it's so topical to tonight's episode about discussing different alien designs.
Yeah.
I felt Arrival is a good, like, that's just like the main thing one would talk about with Arrival, unless you want to talk about themes or First Contact or whatever. But like, yeah, alien designs. As far as A Quiet Place, the idea with that I learned is Jim from The Office basically asked, what if humans were not the apex predator anymore?
Yeah.
So he made an alien race to do that. And that's how you get this whole Jurassic Park vibe where they're hunting people.
I feel like I'm not going to like Quiet Place if I have to watch it. I'm going to be honest.
Whenever the aliens first show up, Jim goes like this.
Yeah. Yeah. When his kid is snatched, he just looks at the camera and shrugs.
Yeah.
It's like some
it's a
alien
Quiet
designs really feel like brand new and like really innovative, and others, like I love the movie Signs, but the alien design is not that original.
Right.
I know that's kind of the point,
Right.
but it's like, what if it looks just like you imagine alien looking like? But they can't touch water.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little weak.
Yeah. Can't open doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't open doors.
We are here to invade.
Dude.
Oh fuck! I'm in a
Sorry,
car.
The experience to that movie is absolutely lost when you're watching it at home. I'll just say,
sad.
maybe if you've got a home theater and you turn out the lights and you got these big freaking screen in front of you, maybe.
Which one? Quiet Place or Signs?
Quiet Place.
Okay.
I actually kind of like Signs.
So I remember seeing Signs in
Yeah, same.
theaters. I was in a drive-in theater.
I really
and,
like Signs. Yeah.
And
Same.
me and my mom were in the car in the front, right? And my brother and his two friends, his friends, they were in like in front of the car on a blanket, and his friends had already seen the movie, so they went to the side of the car right when they're watching the clip of the alien walk in front, and they jump in and we're like, ah! And my mom just starts screaming like, fuck shit!
Yeah, when the alien walks across the screen, talk about like a powerful learning cinematic storytelling device that I mean, like, hats off to M. Night Shyamalan for some of those scenes.
The acting, the directing, the cinematography, that movie is, and the soundtrack, that movie is underrated as hell. That's a
Mel
very good-
Gibson, like, you got all, yeah, it's all there.
Well, it's like you can look at it as a family movie, and the way humans respond to changing circumstances and danger, or you can look at it as a movie about lost faith and what that means, and the different kinds of people in the world.
There were a lot of themes running through that, which I thought, that's not easy to do.
Resident One brings up a good point. The Predator alien design.
Very good.
Predator is one of my favorite alien designs.
Almost a very bad design. You guys ever see that?
I did. Yeah. It looked like shit.
You know,
I'll look it up. You guys talk.
You want to know how they kind of came up with the original, the final design was, I forget who it was, but the guy, the Sam Winston that was making the effects, was on a flight, and he was kind of like trying to sketch out ideas for the Predator design. The guy next to him said something along the lines of, you know, what would really be cool is we had an alien with mandibles. And he's like, yeah, it would be great. You know, he's drawing these freaking mandibles in. So, and that's another thing, you know, Predator worked because they used typical storytelling elements, and the writing was excellent. And they stuck to the some of the elements, like you never saw the Predator until like the last part of the movie.
He's even
invisible. Why have movies and TV shows forgotten that?
Yeah.
If you have something,
did Quiet Place not do that? I heard that. Didn't they reveal the alien early in the movie?
Right away.
Not a full body shot. Like you see glimpses of it.
Yeah, but still, come on.
You want a prime example of where they completely ignored all the old storytelling elements, and that was it the Rise of Skywalker.
Look at that piece of shit.
Wow.
You know, it's not terrible.
Yeah, you know, but it's not Predator, dude.
No, I think it's because we have such an amazing Predator. Like, I don't know.
This looks like something Godzilla would have fought in the old movies.
You know what? You know what's actually really interesting was they had this Predator design. They were mostly happy with it, and then they saw Nancy Pelosi giving a speech to the House, and they said, "You know what? We might be able to do something better. Let me rework this
with
mandibles." I just think it couldn't move. Yeah, I think it just couldn't move, and that was like the biggest problem with it.
You know what's dope about the actual good Predator design though is the mandibles. There you go. That's $1 million idea. Like the dude just was like, "Let's have mandibles," right? And what that did is like now you have this familiar yet.
Oh Christ, dude.
So anyway, the mandibles just kind of remind me of Lovecraft a little bit. So I dig it. It's like a catchy design, if that makes sense.
Like what if the mandibles had mandibles?
Yeah.
Guys,
you got the aliens from Arrival.
What mandibles for the feminists out there? What mandibles?
Herman, what were you saying about Rise of Skywalker? I think we all missed that.
The bet was one of the prime examples of bad storytelling and doing everything wrong in the movie is Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So they ignored the rules, right?
Yeah, I call that the skid marks of the tighty whities of film.
Yeah.
It's
worse than that.
The big reveal of the villain is at the very beginning of the movie.
Somehow.
It's like
smart.
Somehow.
No. That was not in the beginning of the movie. That was in Fortnite.
That line is in the movie, but it was not in the beginning of the movie.
No, what I'm saying is somehow the message from Palpatine was released in Fortnite before a trailer or anything ever revealed Palpatine.
Oh, no
People found
way.
out about Palpatine returning from Fortnite. That is a serious thing.
That's embarrassing, dude.
Even so, then what they should have done. Well, number one, they should have been better about keeping their secrets. But what they should have done is that they should have said that Palpatine was showing back up, and then bring in Plagueis.
There you go.
Plagueis.
This is the whole thing.
Plagueis found a way to live forever, bro. Right?
The Last Jedi, when they killed him, I thought they were just gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he's not actually dead." I thought he was gonna come back. I thought Snoke was going to come back and be revealed as Plagueis.
I was
hoping.
I was like, what the fuck?
Well, and the thing is that would have connected the prequels to the sequels.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys are missing a critical freaking element. They are terrible. They were so shit.
Yeah, you're right.
I watched The Last Jedi, most disappointing film of all time, and therefore it is my most hated film of all time.
I stand by
that movie.
I think
the Rise of Skywalker being definitively worse.
Yes,
it is, but I don't hate it as much as I hate The Last Jedi.
You know what we're doing?
I was
writing a better movie than they did.
When I watched that movie, I was near death. I was at the threshold of death with frickin' COVID. I was locked in a hotel, or not hotel rooms, locked in a hospital room, couldn't leave. And there was the only thing on the TV that I could even stand was either Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie, which I'd seen like 15 times because I'd been flying back and forth to wherever for my last job.
Yeah.
Or The Rise of Skywalker. And so I watched The Rise of Skywalker, and about 20 minutes in, COVID didn't seem that bad.
Beep, beep. Yeah. We're losing him. Beep,
gentlemen, we found the cure.
I think Rise of Skywalker is legitimately probably the worst movie that's ever been made.
No, not even close.
That's that one movie. What's that one?
It's really bad, but there are much worse films.
There's one that's famous.
I don't know, man. I literally like. It's like I think it's even worse than the Marvels.
No,
it's hard for me to say because I never watched it and I didn't want to watch it.
I've seen the Marvels in theaters.
I mean, well, yeah. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, Wonder Woman, was it 1984? That one was. That one was spectacular.
The first Wonder Woman film was actually really pretty damn good. What did they do?
I thought it was okay. Okay.
I agree.
It was okay.
I slept.
Some good moments.
I slept through the Eternals. Actually, I slept through the trailer for Eternals.
Yeah, but so I never saw the Eternals, but I'm like to argue for the Rise of Skywalker being the worst movie ever. Like every scene is completely disconnected from everything. Yeah. The villains' motives just don't make sense. The protagonist's motives don't make sense. Yeah. Like I could definitely make an argument that it is the worst movie ever made.
It's bad.
Have you seen Battlefield, or have you guys seen Battlefield?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't remember it, but I would say that's probably better, even though I don't remember it.
I would have to say that Battlefield Earth is better than Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I can see
that. Does it make more sense logically scene to scene? Because Rise of Skywalker doesn't make sense scene to scene.
It was just bad writing, but it made sense.
What about Skinwalkers?
Ever made any sense?
Skinwalkers by Stephen King, his screenplay that he wrote. Has anyone seen that movie?
Wait, screenplay? So was it ever released?
It was never a book. It was a screenplay. It was star-studded. It was the worst. The evil, incestuous aliens at the end are killed because when cats scratch them, they explode.
Boom! Sounds awesome.
That is one of the most logical aspects of the entire film.
Talk about.
That's what happens.
I would still say that Rise of Skywalker was worse than that.
Herman, you saw that movie?
I saw that movie.
Oh my God! Wow.
So what you're saying is Rise of Skywalker sinks, but does it have good alien design?
It does more than that. It creates a black hole.
Yeah,
there was. I went to go see the Lawnmower Man in the theater, and that movie sucked on levels you couldn't imagine.
And a lot of these movies have excuses, though, too.
Yeah.
It's like still technology,
less than Rise of Skywalker.
Coming out in 20 whatever, the Rise of Skywalker doesn't even have the excuse of it doesn't have a budgetary excuse. It doesn't have technology excuse.
Great actors.
Great actors. It's like, it was a small studio. Oh no.
Adam
the bad
Driver's
budget,
good, man.
Small budget.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Adam
Driver's great.
Dude, he's great. Yeah, there's some good actors. Even who was the Asian lady that everybody was like, I don't know,
Rose Tico?
A useless
character? Yeah. There's some good actors. Is my whole point. They weren't terrible.
Well, what else is she in?
The acting is never the problem. Usually, right? It's always the writing and
the writing was bad.
Yeah.
What the hell is? Herman, what is this movie that Boncher's talking about?
Langoliers, that was
Stephen King.
Oh, Langoliers, yeah. Yeah, that's terrible, right?
I've never even heard of this movie.
No, I don't even know what you're speaking gibberish.
I think I watched it with my wife.
Langoliers. That's the one where there's a bunch of people flying on a plane, and when they land the plane, it's like there's nobody there, and there's a whole bunch of weird things.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's on it's like these orb thing, like mouth things that try to chase them. Yeah,
Yeah.
What was that Stephen
It is
King?
definitely better.
What was that Stephen King movie where there was an evil tire, sentient tire? Does anyone remember?
It's better.
Oh
now.
Like all these movies are listing are better.
Man.
They're more.
You're making me want to watch Maximum Overdrive again.
Yes, that's what.
Maximum Overdrive was bad, but it was still better than
Great soundtrack.
Rise of Skywalker.
We're gonna have once our sci-fi kick is done, we're gonna have to go to like the near sci-fi genres, like the ones that are on the outskirts of sci-fi. And 1 week we're gonna have like the post-apocalyptic Mad Max lineup, where it's like Mad Max, The Boy and His Dog, and like 2 others. You know,
I think this week we should stay away from sci-fi. We've been doing a lot of sci-fi. I think we should probably go like the opposite and try sword and shield.
There is never enough sci-fi.
Great voice.
So the problem with like most of the fantasy stuff is most of it sucks.
Yeah,
I mean,
Rubber. That's what it was called. Thank you, Frederick.
Yes,
Rubber.
That sounds
Rubber.
sexual.
I barely know her.
but most fantasy sucks. I mean, you got like the 3 Conan movies. I mean,
I forgot there were more of them.
People didn't like the reboot with Conan, but it had some good parts to it.
It was.
I think that was good casting. Actually, I thought he was a good.
I thought he was a good. I thought he was, but there was
wasn't roided out enough.
Yeah, and I thought there was parts of it I was falling asleep.
More roids.
It was so boring for a Conan movie of all things.
Yeah,
like,
but as it got near the end, it started getting a lot better, and the imagery that they used near towards the end actually, reminded me of the old Frazetta covers of the Conan art.
Some of the imagery and like the still frames they had were like
exactly.
This brings up a good. It's
Lord of the Rings.
I think we need to exclude Lord of the Rings because
there are. It's like
we have to exclude Lord of the Rings for this to be an actual answerable question. Like, and when I think of like other good fantasy, like I go back to all the old school kind of stuff. Like I liked Willow. I loved that film when I was a kid.
That movie's all right.
Dark Crystal was fun.
Probably like Princess Mononoke or something. I'd have to really think about it and go over.
I feel like Anthony can't.
Mine was Dragon Slayer.
A little bit.
I was just gonna say Dragon Slayer was a cool one.
Interesting.
I've never seen it or heard of it. We bought it on a Walmart bin because in the Gilded somebody mentioned it being good. It might have been Bonchar, I can't remember. And we watched it on a whim, and I was like, "This is actually pretty damn good for being like an 80s fantasy movie, low budget, what have you."
Believe it or not, that was a Paramount Disney venture. And so that's the reason why some of it has like some kid aspects to it, but it's a very dark movie.
Yeah, dude.
And
like people get eaten and stuff.
And actually, the Wizard Stone, there's elements of the Wizard Stone that are inspired from that movie.
I thought that when I was watching it, I'm like, this has got to be an inspiration for that book.
Yes,
it was good.
So,
surprisingly good for being a movie I'd never heard of from that time period.
Well, and that one, or I don't think it won Academy Awards, nominated for Academy Award because they came up with a technique to take stop animation and blur the frames. I forget what it's called, but there's a technique to it, and it at the time it looked real. That dragon, the way the dragon moved, and how it came in and out.
You sound like one of those guys in the 90s who's like, look at these graphics for these computer games. It will never get better than this. It looks so
if you look close today, you can kind of see it. But you kind of have to look close. But the way they did the stop animation on that, it looked real.
Yeah, it
nothing
still
comes to the
good.
top of my head.
If we're excluding anime and Lord of the Rings, then I'm gonna have to say Dark Crystal. That
was a cool movie.
Yeah, just without any thought, without giving it any thought, that's what I'll say.
What about any of the modern ones? Are there any good ones recently? Like Season the Witch, 47 Ronin. There was one with Vin Diesel. One with Nick Cage. There's a handful of ones in the past decade. They can't all be bad, right?
It depends. Well, it partially depends on like where we draw the line of fantasy, which brings up another kind of topic I thought we could talk about.
Right.
Which is back in the day, it wasn't sci-fi and fantasy; it was all fantasy.
Yeah.
When did that start diverging? Like when did they kind of turn into two separate genres?
Like the Predator is fantasy, right? Xenomorphs. That's the fantasy alien. Right?
No, you could say the sci-fi because you're introducing an alien into it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean the definition of sci-fi is it's almost always it's a subcategory of fantasy.
I think so. Yeah.
When sci-fi went from pulp to hard sci-fi.
Yeah,
I think so too.
That's
what I was
when
thinking.
the changeover was.
Yeah.
Star Wars is kind of like
That's fantasy.
Science fantasy.
Yeah.
And but I mean, back in the old days, like the 70s and the 60s and all that, a lot of that sci-fi
they were blended
pulp.
together pretty much eternally.
Usually, if it's like if you're like a technology that's affecting the world, or an alien that's like kind of affecting the world, like you introduce a predator, or an alien in Aliens, that I think makes it more sci-fi than fantasy.
Well, that brings up another point. Like,
I have a point.
Sci-fi versus fantasy races. AC, you take off on that one.
Oh, okay. Sci-fi versus fantasy races. D&D is fantasy, famously, but it is filled with aliens such as mind flayers and beholders. These are aberrations from otherworldly dimensions, planets, and planes from outside deep space and the like. So there are aliens within fantasy. I think aliens are. I think it's a subgenre of fantasy, like Herman said. It's just like we kind of assume when you say, that's why I think some people say like epic fantasy and stuff, or I don't know. We need
but you're not like throwing that race into the world and seeing how that like affects the world.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? It's just that's a race that's a part of the world, like that alien race is just like similar as the elves and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, and Dungeons and Dragons actually experimented a lot with introducing elements of sci-fi into fantasy, because one of the older modules that came out, this is back when the TSR was the only place where you can get modules. I think it was like Expedition to the Snow Caps or Snow Peaks, was investigating a crashed alien ship and robots and all that stuff.
AK-47, I love your name, but try that comment again. I feel like I'm missing something here. Yep. But yeah, no, it brings up a good point. Like I'm kind of with Herman. I think when people really started differentiating sci-fi from fantasy more effectively in a more meaningful way is when sci-fi started going into like hard sci-fi. You started getting like the Ring worlds. You got the Isaac Asimovs, and like they started putting a more of a focus on ideas rather than the fantasy kind of fairy tale element that you found in a lot, or pulpy element you found in a lot of fantasy stories.
The whimsy.
Yeah, well, the weird, the weirdness of it. Like the one book that has come to shown up recently, and God, now I've just forgotten it. But there's a book that just came out, and it's going to kill me now that I can't remember what it is.
Dawn Edge by Joseph Battaglia and Caroline Battaglia.
Mortal Descent.
I heard that's great. I heard that's a 5 out of 5. Everyone loves it.
5 out, yeah.
I gotta go find it now. But it's
it's got a AI technology that's controlling the world, and there's interdimensional terrorists.
This is like a bunch of short stories of people traveling to this strange world. And they're using all of the weird sort of technology that goes along with it. And it's all this just fascinating, fantastical technology that nowadays would make absolutely no sense.
That's magic.
It's like ever since the kind of two genres diverged and went different directions, I like when people, like competent, good writers, are able to kind of bring them back together. Like there's a local indie author I know named Chris Fox, and he writes a lot of sci fantasy, and it's maybe the best blend of the two that I've ever seen. It's
Hyperion.
Hyperion.
Very good reviews. Yeah, very good reviews on Hyperion. Yep.
That was really good. Yeah.
That it has a lot of echoes to
those retarded mongoloids.
Foundation as well. Right.
Foundation is an interesting read, but I will never read it again.
All right, let's a little short time for each of us. Let's just give out a sci-fi recommendation real quick.
A sci-fi rec.
Huh? Evely, you first. I'll be last. I'm the captain here.
I'm gonna go with
my authority.
Why ride the short bus? Okay.
You know, Battsauce, that is a really, really, really good point. Anyway.
I don't know that it's really good, but it was certainly entertaining. I'm going with my pick from the poll this week. It got 5% of the vote. Dark Skies. From I forget what
it's
year.
A good movie, but
2010 or something.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was done sort of like it felt like a low budget horror film, or
I meant
like
book,
mid
but,
budget.
yeah.
Oh,
that one jump. I will say that first jump scare does get me. You know the one I'm talking about.
I thought the movie was cool in
Yeah,
general.
it got me.
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a book off the top of my head that comes to mind right away. So.
Well, we'll start down in the lower corner. Herman, a sci-fi recommendation. Just any sci. We'll go with books. So sci-fi book recommendation.
Oh, I don't read a lot of sci-fi books. I'll go with a movie.
I got a recommendation for you.
Event Horizon.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Good choice.
Scared the snot out of me. 13.
40K influence.
I just watched that again, Hermie. That for Stargate research. I love it.
Stargate is another great movie.
Another good suggestion. Yeah.
Asimov is an interesting writer. I do like his books, but they're not. I don't read them all the time. I don't read them all the time.
I got a good.
The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. I don't know. Thank you, Alicia.
Jimenez.
Yeah. Yes. So my recommendation is something that's quite frankly kind of a thorn in the side of this entire show, because every week it's completely cheated for whatever reason, whatever the conspiracy is. Juniper Ascending has been completely cheated. I don't know if you saw how badly again.
Oh boy!
Again, they ruined the poll coincidentally. Like, yeah, okay. The Ultimate Kahuna misspelled Jupiter. Called it Juniper
because you did in the chat, and I thought it was hilarious.
What? No, I would. How dare you accuse me of mispronouncing or misspelling?
That just makes you a beta cuck.
Yeah.
I would never do Juniper Ascending dirty.
I'll have you know, juniper is an essential plant in the ecology.
Yeah, what is this juniper Ascending about? This sounds fascinating.
Yeah, guys, let's watch this documentary about juniper plants and the health benefits there.
Movie ever made. Mila Kunis
nice.
Is an American hero, but no recommendation.
I'd like to know what you have against junipers, there, Bucko.
Recursion. It's
that sounds familiar. I feel like
I've recommended it before. It's a really cool sci-fi, like kind of horror in the element it does. There's it just starts off with people having fake memory syndrome. Names kind of sucks for that, but basically people have memories that are so real to them that like this girl, she remembers a son. She doesn't have a son, and the fact that she has these memories of the son that doesn't exist hurts her so much that she just killed herself. That's how the book starts off.
Lovely.
And they have the detective tries to get to the bottom of this, and it's really interesting, really awesome.
So like the coked out, respectable non-prostitute woman in the beginning of the what was it? The old Mel Gibson buddy cop, Lethal Weapon. There we go. Yeah, just like that.
No.
I don't remember.
All right, Evely, a sci-fi recommendation. We're kind of doing anything. So books, games, movies.
Oh,
you already went.
And more.
I already went. I'll throw a Mass Effect while we're at it. Sure.
Good boy.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'll tell you when I get to space.
All three of them.
When I bring my state company to space, it will have a massive effect. A tremendous.
I said to myself,
alien.
I said to myself, the effect of this will be massive. It'll be the most massive effect that anybody's ever seen.
Have you seen his ship? Ugly as a dog.
Ugly. I looked at that ship. I said, "That's not even a ship.
Not all ships, just that one."
Anyway, so AC.
I know the best spaceships, and if anyone's going to talk about other spaceships, it's going to me because I could tell you which are the best spaceships around. I have friends that are experts, quite frankly, the best experts in the best spaceships, and
quite.
They tell me what the best spaceships are. So if you're gonna ask anyone, ask me, please. Thank you.
That sounds like if Trump took a hit of helium and then held his nose at the same time.
A little bit, yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
I'm
talking too quickly, probably.
Oh, so anyway, this is my best impression of that whole setup you have there, brother.
I'm gonna say, I have 2 recommendations. All right. I'm glad Evely said Mass Effect, because I was pouring through all the sci-fi like universes in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Such a great influence for
tremendous effect.
Species.
Oh, it's so great. And oh, dude, Krogans.
They're dope.
Krogans, dude.
Mass Effect had a really cool world. Just the games kind of went downhill.
I love them all. I like the weird aliens that they say their emotion. They're like angry, and they're always talking monotone, so they say their emotion first to help. Like,
they're so wholesome, dude.
Yeah, everything they say makes me laugh. It's great.
Yeah, dude, it's great.
Deep arousal.
To defend Mass Effect 3, I think it was people would have had.
Defending Mass Effect 3. Oh, interesting.
I think people would have had a much better experience if they didn't have a saved game.
You know, that's a great point, but okay,
I will get my point out. No, I played the second one on Xbox, and I played the third one on PlayStation, so I didn't have my saved game. And like the decisions they make you make in the third one when you don't have your allies from the second game are so much more brutal.
Oh wow. That's sick.
Yeah.
But the ending blows, and the game quality overall.
Not if you believe in the indoctrination theory.
Oh,
it's actually the best ending.
Oh, okay.
I was fine with it.
Brain blown. Anyway, the game sucks as fat. No, so AC, what was your recommendation, my friend?
So my fun recommendation is The Fifth Element.
Ah, yeah,
that is a good one.
Oh yeah,
and
basic
needs to be on the next sci-fi poll. The next sci-fi poll needs to be Fifth Element on there. And you know, just it's just so good.
A person like you, Kahuna, should stop blowing brains. It'll lead to an addiction, and you'll start growing all hair on your palms.
Do you think my loving parents and my divorce had anything to do with it, Dr. Peterson?
Dr. Peterson.
What about
anyway?
That's a fun one.
My serious recommendation. So that was my fun recommendation. My serious recommendation is Dead Space. Just the world. Space. Yes, the world of Dead Space.
Yeah, the world's cool. I didn't really like the game, but the world's cool.
I saw the movie, or I saw the 2 I want to say cartoons, but whatever, the animated
films, yeah.
And so much potential there, but
yeah.
Oh god.
The world
Gaza
is
Strip
interesting
Dead
enough,
Space.
but
Jeez.
I never really got in. Dead Space didn't intrigue me as much as some of the others.
Oh, I'm gonna pull some Dead Space into my sci-fi world for sure. But continue. Sorry.
Just
pause before saying that.
Yeah, obelisks.
So my recommendation. I've been shilling it a couple times recently, but it's my favorite. It is my favorite series of all time. Book 1, it's good. Second book. The second book in the series is my favorite fiction book ever written.
Wow.
Red Rising. The first series is a trilogy, followed by a second series that is a quadrilogy by Pierce Brown. It's for if you like fantasy, if you like the feel of fantasy, the epicness, the heroism and the politics of something like Game of Thrones and the epicness of battles. But you like the technology and the exploration of ideas that sci-fi can bring as well. This story has all that, and it will treat you like an emotional punching bag. It is a tremendous, tremendous story. I love that series.
Is this the one Stormcrow has brought up before too, or is that a different one? Wasn't that Red something?
He's read it before.
I don't know. I think it's got a red cover, but it's called Dawn Edge. He's a big fan.
Oh yeah, I heard that one's great. It's about an AI or something.
I heard.
I don't know, man. I heard the author's kind of an asshole. I don't know.
The bigger the asshole, the better the book. You know.
Yeah.
He made some really racist comments against the Hawaiians. Like seriously, like in 2024, seriously.
I'm literally
You know he's good at writing because he's good with his hands. They're always going. So.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Dr. Peterson says people use their hands like maybe kind of homosexual. I don't know, man.
Well, statistically speaking, people
that's great.
Often have a proclivity for certain sexual deviancy.
They're good with their hands. You know what I'm saying?
Not and usually involve themselves with goats and such. So there's a few papers on it that you should probably look them up.
Is that the guy who keeps on telling me that you clean my room or something?
You really should clean your room, especially you've got the emperor back there, and I think he's making a mess.
Why does the emperor have boobs? I don't know. It says a lot about our society. Anyway, I think this is a very wise comment, Bernie and Alicia. I you know what? I hadn't thought about this before, but you may be right. You may be right.
Well, I think it's speaking about books. Herman, you have one coming out soon, don't you?
You want? Why? Yes, I do.
Yeah,
and it's called The Revenant and the Cult. Dun 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun,
Book
dun.
1. Oh, I can't see it. Book 1. The Trapper and the Missing Spy, which is about the return of Hal Cedric. Seeing that I had people on social media demanding that I bring him back, so I did, and got a new bookmark that when I go to trade shows, I give this away, and this one's made specifically so it has links on the back, and a link to the actual artist. So I'm promoting artists as well.
No, dude, I like honestly, I'm a bookmark slut. I love a good bookmark, man.
They are cool.
Do they stick to the pages? There's,
I'm just using a napkin for mine.
It's like, why is your book all still sticky?
It's a terrible napkin. I used to draw straight lines on things. It's not...
So
when did your book actually come out? What's the official release date of it?
The official release day is May 21st. I actually have a show to go to in West Branch, Michigan, and I will be bringing a few of those books there.
So that's 2 weeks from today.
No, it's actually this weekend. 3
weeks.
Oh no,
Wait,
you're talking about the release.
The official release. Yes.
The official release like 2 weeks from today, and then the show is this weekend. So
what can you tell us about the book? What can we expect getting into this?
Basically, it's about a cult.
Lit.
Oh, thank you.
Is it Lovecraftian, buddy? Is it love? Do you go Lovecraft?
There are some love. I mean, the first I split the book up. It was originally written as one book, and I split it up into two for various reasons. I discussed them forward. But it is I do have a bunch of Lovecraftian elements in my stories, but they're kind of layered as different things, and I'm kind of building on the lore. But the first book is more of kind of like a sort of a fantasy thriller, and it deals with a cult and people disappearing, and Hal Cedric kind of investigating what's going on. And then the second part is an adventure into a wood called the Witchwood. And there I go using my hands again. But anyways, so yeah, and that's more of, as a matter of fact, my wife who read it, she goes, it's as good, if not better, than The Revenant and the Tomb.
Nice.
And for those who don't know, Revenant in the Tomb is his first. It's his first novella, I guess is what you would
novella.
call it.
It's actually a novella. Yeah. It's actually a novella because it's below 40,000 words, but just barely. And look at here, Mr. Wrangler, there, Mister. You leave goats out of this, bucko.
Greatest of all time.
And what I'll say is I read, like, it was one of the earlier books I read, like when I started reading Iron Age, was The Revenant and the Tomb. I almost keep on saying the new name. And it to this day is still one of my favorites in the entire Iron Age that I've read, for what that's worth. It feels very kind of old school. It reminds me of a little bit of Howard and Lovecraft. But still good grounded fantasy, and it gets you very invested in a very short page count. And I'm very much looking forward to that.
I try to keep it very pulpy, and try to only bring in the elements that I need. And if I'm going to develop a much larger world, I'll do it through a series of books. So you'll kind of get pieces. And this gets a little bit more into the lore, gets a little bit more into the backstory and the lore of the whole sort of arc that's going on with this world. So
I also liked finding connections between the Wizard Stone and like just they're light connections, but they are there if you look for them. Between the different books.
Yeah, the matter of fact, the Wizard Stone occurs several hundred years, or I think it's more than it's an extensive period of time after the Revenant and the Cult and the Revenant and the Tomb, and this is actually during a period of what is being sort of hinted at in the Revenant Tomb and the Revenant and the Cult, except now it's more pronounced. So
yeah.
And Steve Fortune is doing the audiobook again too, right?
Yep, Steve Fortune he did the audiobook, and hopefully he'll do the next one.
Awesome.
That man has no right. That man has no right sounding as good as he does.
Yeah, it's a really good reading of it.
The funny thing is that he said when I picked him up for the Revenant and the Tomb, he said he was having virtually nobody asking him to do, and he'd been trying to get out there and get people to pick him up as a voice artist. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me.
Yeah, really great.
He's now getting attention. There's another author. I think his name is Kenneth Cromwell.
Oh,
He uses Steve as his voice guy on his book. But I mean, he was getting no traction. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, dude.
A diamond in the rough is what he was, man. That was a good find for you.
Whenever you talk to him, does he always talk like that?
Well, no,
yes,
I mean,
I would like I can't. It's like asking coffee or something.
Please pass salt.
Herman, bringer of goats.
I would like fries.
How be you on this day?
So, but yeah, I mean, I can't praise his talent enough. It's funny. I don't have to give him any instructions. He nails it.
Well, I was going to say too, I think your writing probably helps out as well. Because I think your writing, it's got really good flow to it. You paint a picture well, but it's just got this.
Oh, for
it's
sure.
Like liquid in my ear flowing around it's just everything like moves. Nice.
During my live readings, I found like sometimes I'm just off or I'm tired or something, but other times I'm reading someone's like opening chapter or a prologue. I'm like, oh, there's no flow to this. This is rough, dude. Like, there's this one. I didn't say anything directly. Me and I was just like, yep, I'm just having a little bit of trouble reading this one. Just bear with me here.
So, your book releases in 2 weeks. Roughly, when was the release of your last book?
It was March 3rd, 2023.
Okay, so you got a pretty good release time schedule on that. Then.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been done. I would have actually been done earlier, but people wanted to know more about Hal Cedric and Harry Diney and a bunch of other stuff. And so when I started writing the book, I decided to throw all that stuff in there. As a matter of fact, in the foreword, I talk about how this is the first line in the foreword is, this is the book I never intended on writing, because I never expected to do anything with Hal Cedric after the Revenant and the Tomb. He was a throwaway character, and I had people coming up to me on social media going, "So when do we get another one with Hal Cedric?"
We were threatening you. Don't.
Much. Yeah. So shit. So I had to go buy a handgun. People knocking on my door. It's strange.
They kept showing up at the house. Yeah,
camping out in my yard, holding a boombox over their head.
So what's if somebody's never read this, what's some more like popular, really like popular books that might remind them when they read this?
I would say probably if you're. My writing, I think, is more like Robert E. Howard, so it's kind of like Conan, but kind of. But it's I don't even know.
You have a little bit of Abercrombie in your style as well. So it's like First Law trilogy and the like.
There's some of it that's very D&D-ish, but because Hal Cedric kind of resembles a paladin. All
Hail, Animated Moon! He was having his own illustration stream just a little bit ago. Thanks for popping in, brother.
But it's grittier. It's darker and it's grittier, I think. So, and go ahead.
I was gonna say, how much of the world building have you done, and even just in your head? Like, are you coming up with the world building as you go per book, or do you kind of have most of it laid out?
I had it all laid out until I started actually publishing the books, and then next thing I know, I'm like, well, I could do this, I can do that.
Yeah.
My first attempt at publishing was back in the early 2000s, and actually it was around 2006, and that's when I racked up about 80 rejections, and so I put things on hold for I don't know several years, like nearly 20. And so during that time, I'm thinking about all these things in my head, and when I finally went to do The Revenant in the Tomb, I took a character out of a book and kind of fleshed out sort of a backstory, and then threw Hal Cedric at it. And Hal Cedric was, he was conceived on a drive home from work one day. And I was like, well, let's go write something that's going to be just a sample. So there'd be this tomb, and then there'll be this guy who goes explore the tomb. But I don't want them to have to plunder the tomb because everybody would do that. Let's have him go check the tomb. And then, so he just kind of built it on the fly. And then I started typing it out. I'm like, God, I got to get to at least 17,000 characters for it to be a novella. And then when I got to like about 20,000, I'm like, there needs to be more than this. So
we need more.
I had a similar experience with my book because I had a goal word count, and I'm like, man, this is gonna take me forever. And then like a month later, I'm like, I'm gonna breeze past this. And I was like,
it's amazing when you're on something, or when you're on something, dude.
Shout out to Stephen King.
When you're hot on the trail. Yeah.
My son's on a lot of things. Mostly when he's in the White House. I don't know what exactly it is, some Parmesan or something.
I don't even remember writing Cujo, man. We were really into this world.
When you're on the trail to writing something, it's amazing how it's like this current book. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get this book done, and I barely worked on the thing. I'm on freaking chapter 8, and I'm approaching a third of the book done, and I'm barely working on it. Yeah. So it's amazing what happens when you just kind of sit down and write.
Yeah, it's awesome when you get that like flow state too, like that.
Yeah,
I've been trying to. Oh, sorry. Go
ahead, just talk over him. That's it.
I am the captain here.
You should really learn some manners there. You young Hawaiian gentleman.
I do what I want, Mr.
Kahuna, you go, man. You go. I've been talking.
No, go ahead.
I'm free. Anyway, I've been getting back into. I've been outlining and getting stuff read. Good. I've been writing into my own stories again recently.
Yes.
I kept on stopping for a while just because, I'm busy, man. I'm trying to do the whole YouTube thing. I was on vacation, working all the time.
YouTube kills it, man.
Streaming takes a lot of it all takes a pretty substantial amount of time, and without I figured out if I don't have an outline for my writing, I'm not going to get any substantial writing done. And so I've been just working on outlining my a sci-fi story I've been working on for a while. It's going to be like Robert E. Howard horror and Lovecraftian horror meets cyberpunk 2077 in Hawaii. It's a weird one, man. It's gonna be fun.
I love it.
No, I love hearing about all your guys' stories about how you struggled and then you pushed through and you made it anyway, man.
Cyberboy.
It's inspiring, really.
So, if you knew only 2 people were gonna read your book, would you still write it?
Yes.
Yes, but now that I'm a business, I want more than 2 people reading my book.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. No, I saw it. I had a comment from somebody, and I was
I do love it.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do enjoy writing.
Yeah,
and I love the world that I'm kind of creating, and I like some of the stuff where I'm going. And there's other things I want to do too. And at one point, I actually want to start. I've got ideas about starting other sort of side fantasy stuff, but yeah, or even like cosmic horror. I would love doing that because I'm a huge Lovecraft fan.
Yeah.
Me too,
like,
brother.
No shade against the person who made the comment. It's just I'm like person basically saying that it's what they like most about or why they write is because of the shared interest or comments they get from people reading it, and I'm like, to me, I'm like that. I don't know. It just seems just foreign because I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's awesome when somebody like reads your book and you get to didn't have that. I'm like, I still want to write my books. I'm like, I love the writing process. I'm like, when I'm writing a chapter and then I'm like, I get through it. I don't know. I just, even if nobody was reading, I would still be writing. But
yeah, no. And the thing is, you got to love what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm coming into a lot of this, having built a career out of nothing and I got, I'm like 30 years writing software, and I started when software was like frickin' IBM XTs. So
were you around when they were using calculators to start their computers, or was that a little before you?
This about 5 years before me. I've actually done that though. No, it's called it's called bootstrapping, where you actually plug in the code to start up the computer, and you do it through switches.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I've actually done that because we made like computers. I was in electronics, and one of our last, we got into the later classes, you would create a CPU, or you actually create a computer for discrete components like just chips. And then in order to start it up, you would have to put in the code, and you'd have to do all the switches and then toggle it, and then do all the switches and toggle it. So I've actually done that.
That makes me very grateful. I can just go push and turn on my computer.
Yeah, you don't.
Thanks, Herman. Thanks for doing the hard, heavy lifting.
You don't want to know what it takes to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I mean, you got to really love it. And if
it was also worth it for like 600 megabytes worth of data storage you guys are able to.
I might be high.
Actually, it was like we started with 10. You ever seen what the old disk packs? You ever seen the old disc packs on those? I mean, they're like a freaking cabinet about that big and about that tall.
Hey Herman, you're speaking my language. I'm IT as well.
Yeah,
big military.
Platters. Yeah, those big platters. Those held whopping 10 megabytes.
Yeah, your military background is why I was actually I give you a lot of points on the subject of the incompetent military criticism you have for Arrival. Anytime you actually, bro, I'll be honest with you. Anytime you bring up any criticism that's military related or whatever, I'm listening a little bit more.
It's a fact. Then
yeah.
He knows incompetent military like you wouldn't believe. He's part of a special unit.
The special.
There was a lot of influence in my upcoming book. Guns Whisperer. I deal with a lot of stupid people, but
I do want to. Like I said, the thing is you got to have a love for what you do, or you're not going to last. Because when people start telling you your book's a piece of crap, and they're giving you 1-star reviews because of whatever reason they don't like it, and when you get it, I've racked up 150 rejections thus far, probably more since the first time I started till now. And at one point or another, I was about ready to say the second time around, I'm done. This is not worth it.
I have a similar scorecard with women, actually.
Yeah. I'm with you there too. But anyway, so the thing is that the wife was what pulled me back, and so I've redoubled my efforts. And but it's the love. You got to have a love for what you want to do in order to make it last. Yeah. And I really do love it, and I want to keep doing it. And hopefully, after I retire, I'll be able to do a heck of a lot more because I spent only part-time doing this.
Well, you put out a tremendous effort, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for talking about your stuff. And we got 3 authors on here. We have 1 musician, and we have a shirtless weirdo. But it's a great time, man. I love this.
Hey, button up that shirt, young man, and clean your freaking room.
Yeah.
For Christ's sakes.
You told me to wear a button down, Dr. Peterson. You say people got to dress up.
I actually want to talk a little bit more about alien design if in the last little bit of time that we have, because like
I can feel it. Yeah.
You want to talk about Mass Effects?
Dude, Mass Effect. Let's talk about Arrival. Let's talk about Xenomorphs. Let's talk about Predator a little bit more.
Thing.
The
Even Star
Covenant.
Wars. Even Star Wars, because there's no end to. They kind of have a rule with their lore where you just can always invent another alien race, right?
The
And they
Thing.
do, and they're fun.
They do. Yeah.
In the movie The Thing. Oh,
That
you
movie
talk
is a
about
great
alien
movie.
design.
Oh, Lovecraft
noodles
alien.
slapped everywhere.
What's that Lovecraft story with where the meteor lands in the back?
Oh, and the lights
Color Out
and
of
the
Space.
yeah,
Color
that's
Out
the
of
one.
Space,
That
yep,
was a
yep.
great.
Lovecraft
What?
is all about aliens,
Yeah.
bro. He's all about it.
Also, how does he have such a dry? He has like one of the driest prose styles I've ever seen for a horror author.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm glad he's got a good imagination because holy shit, his writing.
I was talking to a
I
buddy
could
about
use
this
it to
the
make
other day.
freaking
Yeah.
stuffing during Thanksgiving. It's so dry.
It sounds like a scientist, like a scientific paper or something.
I'm like, what? I'm like, wait, good. You made an existential horror sound like you read it out of a science textbook. That's it's pretty remarkable.
What is this architectural digest?
I
I
was
thought I
just-
was reading Lovecraft.
I was just thinking about this earlier, Kahuna. You said existential horror. I was thinking about this earlier because, okay, so I'm watching Arrival. There's a whole this is a whole chain reaction. I'm watching Arrival, and I'm like, this is like wholesome Lovecraft, right? As I said earlier when we were reviewing it, I'm like, this is interesting. This is like wholesome Lovecraft because it's playing on our fear of the unknown, and it's like it's categorized as a sci-fi mystery. That's how you get wholesome Lovecraft, is when it's just a sci-fi mystery. But I went a step further, and I'm like, well, how do I categorize something other than Lovecraftian, as the description? And I think mystery is a huge part of it because of the fear of the unknown. And since fear is there, it's a mystery horror. But if you just say mystery horror, then that's just like a whodunit, right? Like a scary whodunit. Like, so it would almost be like a noir or something. So in order to give it Lovecraft vibes, I'll give you the third wing to those two categories we were talking about earlier. Remember sci-fi and fantasy? There's actually another wing of this that's supernatural. That's a whole nother genre that's like the little redheaded stepchild of these other two that nobody talks about enough. Think about the show Supernatural, right? Anything supernatural is like a combination of, it can be a combination of the two in a way because reasons. But Lovecraft, long story short, is Lovecraft is like a supernatural mystery horror or horror mystery.
When you say supernatural, it's the actual. I mean, it's not like the common use of the term where we're talking about ghosts and stuff like that. We're actually talking about nature, beyond nature.
Beyond nature, like Lovecraft. Yeah,
Or,
that's what he kind of says. Yeah.
Or it's just something, or just
nature.
something that we can't recognize or reconcile with our own brains.
And then you see, you take
Boncher
that
brings
term.
up a good. Boncher brings up a good point here. That is, it has three major pillars of cosmic horror: fear of the unknown, fear of infection, and fear of corruption.
Yeah.
Madness was another one of madness was a big thing with Lovecraft too, because he had a lot of things in there where just looking at them would drive you mad. Speaking of which, going on Lovecraft. There's another movie that came out recently. I think it's Underwater. Is that what it's called?
Oh, with the creature, like the love story.
Yeah,
the deep
that was
one?
a weird. That was a weird
Oh.
one. Yeah.
The Shape of Water? Is that what you're
Shape
talking
of
about?
Water.
Shape of Water.
Came out a while ago.
I just watched it. It was with what's her name from Twilight?
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart. Yeah.
Oh, where they go down to the bottom of the ocean and they find those creatures. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm interested. I'm interested now. Tell me more. I'm interested.
Oh yeah, it actually is depicting.
Oh, it is just called Underwater. Okay.
It's
That's
just
so funny, dude.
It actually depicts kind of like it.
Is it accurate?
It's like
Cthulhu.
The Other. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So okay, are there
totally
deep ones
dude.
and like how close are we talking?
But they don't actually call them that.
Right.
And there's not like a lot of the drama. It's like you're seeing it from kind of like from a very from a distant view.
Yeah.
But if you're not into Lovecraft, you wouldn't see it. You wouldn't.
With my fellow authors here, I'm just going to say it right now. With my fellow authors here and Herman, our lovely honored guest, I'm going to say it right now. There is
my fellow
secret
authors
demand.
and Herman.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
You're the most developed author.
Ladies,
Anyway.
gentlemen, Battsauce.
Yeah. so there's a demand. There's a demand in the market. Is like what I'm getting at here. There's a demand out there for like
Juniper setting.
Accurate Lovecraft. No, like serious, like accurate Lovecraft. Can you imagine how awesome it would be? Like you said, Lovecraft movie. I'm like, what new one? Is there deep ones? You're like, they portray Cthulhu. I'm like, oh, that's sick.
I didn't see it, but
if it's
kind
accurate, that would be so cool.
Lighthouse, wasn't that kind of like Lovecraftian thing? I don't remember.
It's always just kind of.
It was.
It's always just kind of a Lovecraftian thing.
And actually, I think they originally termed it weird fiction.
It was. That's what they called it back in the day.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Something else that's kind of fascinating too is everybody always talks about Lovecraft, and he did go a little bit more into the cosmic horror side of things, and I enjoy his writing. But a friend of his and his contemporary, a man we all love, Robert E. Howard, he wrote a lot of the same kind of stuff as well. He wrote a lot of weird existential. He even wrote some using some of Lovecraft's lore with his permission.
Yeah,
and. Sick. But the main difference is both in his prose styles and how he's different from Lovecraft, but also the human response to existential horror. Each author depicts that very, very differently. In virtually all Lovecraft stories, it's either they are corrupted or they go mad in some form or fashion.
Probably have seen this depicted best in this one book called Dawn Edge by Joseph Battaglia.
I've heard about that. People love it. 5 out of 5.
I typically do that in the form of like you know you're gonna die. So I like the way if you challenged me to like write a short story that just full on tackles that, one popped in my head invasively just now from the Muse, if you want to call it that. So here it goes, like the existential dread from AC. It's just somebody who it's like a wounded soldier. That's how it starts. You found out like he just got away from somewhere, whether it's like the fantasy world you want to write in or like Civil War, World War II, whatever, doesn't matter. But he's wounded and he just slowly dies throughout the course of the short story, and he knows it, and you get to just see it slowly progress. And
like a wound that won't stop. Like
he's wounded,
a wound that's
bad.
Bleeding, and you know you can't. Like you're not going to stop the blood. Yeah,
he's dying.
You know
so what do you do? So it's like the question would be, what do you do with the last moments when you know? That is probably what I would tackle. But yeah, that's just anyway. So like that's how I would do.
Yeah,
existential.
There's another thing I like to point out is that there's in modern times there's actually two decent, I think, Lovecraftian type stories. Well, actually, one was an adaptation of Call of Cthulhu. Was actually done by it was an indie filmmaker, and it was done as a silent movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was modern.
That's honestly the best way to do it.
And it was done as a silent movie, and I'll tell you, as cheesy as it looked, it worked. So I highly recommend if you can find it. It's obscure; you got to go looking for it, but it's black and white. It was done. It's called Call of Cthulhu.
Sick.
Oh yeah.
And it's
that's what people want, bro. They just want straight up Lovecraft. I'm telling you. And so, like, I'm putting deep ones in something.
What is it? True Detective. I think that's what it's called. The series.
Isn't that a show?
That's with Matthew McConaughey and
Matthew McConaughey and what's his name? Woody from
Woody Harrelson. Yeah.
Woody Harrelson. Yeah, Woody Harrelson. He that was wasn't actually Lovecraft, although Lovecraft did use elements of the source of that first season, but once again, that's dealing with the King in Yellow, I think it's called. And that's a theme through it, and that's another part. That's it's along those same lines. So people are providing that. It's just there's not a lot of people doing it well.
I know.
AC, I have a book I'll have to recommend to you later, but it I don't know. It's
people want the Innsmouth look. They want deep ones. They want Cthulhu. They want madness. They want I don't fucking understand. They want mouths and eyes and tentacles, and they want it. They want it really well done.
Yeah,
Dawn.
That's a thing though. They do want that, but let me get the other half of my comparison here, and that was. Robert E. Howard would write about the same kind of things, this accident, like this horror, the stuff that you human cannot understand. And the idea of confronting it is goes against every part of our basic human nature. The difference between Lovecraft and Howard would be that in a Lovecraft story, the people would go mad or be corrupted. In the Howard story, the people would confront it. They would confront the evil. They confront the unknown head on with a heroic spirit. And usually, more often than not, overcome it. Well, like there's a vampire story where they're in Mexico, like they're in Texas. They uncover this ancient like vampire tomb from the Aztec days, and this vampire. And what does the farmer do? He goes fisticuffs with it so long that the sun comes up and kills it.
Dope. As you do in the corn-fed West,
because that's what heroes do.
He gave that guy the American treatment. He's like, let me show you what corn and steak does. Mashed potatoes and gravy right here. Let's go.
Welcome to America. I've never heard Spanish like that. Welcome to America.
It's Spanish.
America. Heck
Never seen a Mexican like you. Let's go.
But I think that's why like they both did a great job, and I like reading each of them their horror stories for different reasons. I like the heroic ideal of Howard, but it's also nice to see the other side of the coin of the human helplessness represented by Lovecraft.
Yeah,
and so I don't know. I just like the comparison there. I guess that's what I was getting at.
I'm probably gonna do. So I mentioned Deep Ones earlier. I'm declaring it now. Spirit animals. Tastes like calamari. But yeah, spirit animals. That's where I'm gonna put it. Just side note. I had to say it. I'm putting deep ones.
We're making like our parallel 40K universe. We can have deep ones in that.
Obviously, there's an alien race of of course. But I'm just saying, like, I just had a whole.
Also the porn adaptation, also called Deep Ones.
Yes, for the furries. Shout outs.
Oh.
No, I'm not even going to say that.
Emily, you can do the soundtrack for it. First track, Deep Enough? I don't know.
Deep Enough? Question mark? And then a secret hidden bonus track? Never. And then a second secret bonus track called Safe Word?
No, the secret bonus track is it in anyway? I have to. Somebody stop me, please.
Yeah, no, we're gonna just keep going.
But actually, I know the solution. Hold.
Alien.
All right.
I think that angry Hawaiian dude needs a little bit of therapy, and maybe we need to hospitalize him.
Rightfully, again, in charge, as I should be. So, as
RH Snow makes a good point. She says putting the love in Lovecraft.
Collusion. There's been collusion.
You laughing with that voice filter cracks me up every single time.
Also, I have read a romance Lovecraft story, so they do exist.
Oh,
they do.
But
of course,
he was kind of a bleeding heart, just like Poe in ways. But by the way, Poe, you can read some of that stuff and start crying.
I have something to admit.
Doesn't like Poe.
I have never read Poe.
I've never read Poe.
You should.
Only read.
He was a huge inspiration to Lovecraft.
You should read.
I believe it.
Joe.
Facehuggers. Let's talk about it.
I don't have it.
Alien Design 101. Let's talk about Alien Design 101 because it's also fantasy and monster design, right? Like you can tie this into any sort of like story, like even like robots.
Well,
right?
it depends. Like with an alien race, you have to think of functional. Like how do they exist in the world? With a monster, you kind of like you get a little bit more leeway with just a straight monster. You don't have to think about like it's like if you have this tentacle monster that doesn't have any vertebrae or any bones, how does it operate and create heavy machinery? Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't. A monster, it's a giant tentacle monster. We don't give a shit. It's fine.
Yep. The fantasy route would say magic. The sci-fi route would say biological engineering, and the supernatural route would say demonic. Right.
The Call of Cthulhu is starting. Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
Please.
I'd watch that in theaters. Yeah.
51st Tentacles.
It's just the best, most accurate Lovecraft we've ever seen.
It's the Cthulhu
the best, most accurate Lovecraft
where we get the cocaine.
Why do you look so weird? What are you doing down there?
Why are you doing that to us, Drew? We gotta get moving to the cult of Cthulhu. I hear the call.
I just,
go.
Why did you take out your tentacles again? I'm working on it.
We got to get Mark Wahlberg in that film too, please. Maybe Matt Damon.
What is that?
Yeah.
Matt
Damon.
Right.
Damon. What the hell happened to this show?
Cthulhu. Sorry, Cthulhu. Kahuna.
The thing about alien design though is that you have two different types. One for movies, because you can't actually do like hugely abstract alien designs and pull them off in a movie because you'll lose them. And books where you can do pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, Lovecraft was sitting there just throwing crap together just out of spite and making these creations because they're, I mean, I can't even imagine something.
He was describing it in a way that his description of it is you can't describe it. Like his description is like you're human.
You describe it in a way you can't describe it.
Yeah, no, like bro, you can't even imagine.
That's literally what he would do. And it works.
He just wrote, bro, you literally can't imagine it.
Or he had like this grid.
Best writer ever.
Grid of words on his wall, and he took a dart and.
When you think about it, it really is a cop out. When you really think about it, it is a cop out.
Four tentacles.
But he did awaken.
No, 5.
I think what made Lovecraft's writing about that stuff successful was that he didn't focus on the monsters. He focused on the reactions to the creatures. That's where the horror comes from. What could possibly make someone lose their mind and lose their sanity? Bid farewell to their mental faculties for once.
What could possibly do that? Yeah. And so a Lovecraftian alien is a face hugger. And earlier today, I found out the origin of that. Like another way to Herman, I would say there's also a couple subcategories within the book aliens and the movie aliens. Like we'll stick to like movie aliens for now, just for visual reasons. You're right. You could do anything in books, so it's kind of its own category. But within the movie aliens, there seems to be the social aliens like Star Wars, where you can always just make or Star Trek even is very
where they're basically humans with a different culture and a different body.
And then there's the very deep, well thought out aliens like xenomorphs and facehuggers from Alien, just as an iconic example, where it was very much designed for this standalone movie, but it was so good that it itself created an entire universe, basically. Because
ineffable.
The face hugger was actually designed because Giger was kind of a perv, but
there's a lot of penises in there.
You're telling me.
He said the only way to get the alien. This is literally the origin of it. He said the only way to get because it's essentially a home invasion movie, but the home is a spaceship and you're trapped in it because you're in space, and the serial killer is an alien, right? So that was the original idea. And he said the only way to get the serial killer inside the house, basically, to get the alien aboard the ship, he had to fuck someone.
Well, isn't that because like the whole movie is like rape allegory?
Yeah.
Right.
There's a big. I love how Ridley Scott did that, and then Aliens comes around, and James Cameron's like, we're gonna make a very good movie also, but without any of that deep shit.
Without any of that weird stuff. Yeah.
We're not getting all philosophical with it.
Well, even thinking about breaking
power loader, queen bug, go.
Even thinking about like infiltrating a ship and terrorizing its inhabitants is in and of itself kind of like an allegory for it. But just the that's the birth of a face hugger and xenomorph. They just needed an alien. And honestly, a lot of the xenomorph's appearance, it used to look really terrible, but they had to they changed actors and they had to redesign the suit a couple times, and that's kind of where you land on it.
Isn't it based off of some kind of deep sea shrimp?
It was, actually.
Well,
it used to have like a human,
like a penis.
There's a lot of tremendous amount of penises in Alien. More penises than you know what to do with.
It's actually kind of a
one in each hand doesn't matter. Not enough.
The penis burster from the chest. Yeah. But another alien design Predator, right?
Thank you, whoever this is. Thank you for this.
Appreciate it.
What the hell?
Welcome to the Iron Seas. So,
Welcome to the Iron Seas.
Yes,
you can walk the plank down. Fascists around here? Did somebody say my name? I'm a little confused.
Are those actual Nazis in the room with us right now?
Guys, we may be reading this all wrong. Maybe he's just announcing himself. He like pops up.
I am here.
Fascist.
I am here. Enters the room like Kramer. Like fascist.
He just like he has a business card. It's like, here, call this number. Fascist.
But yeah, Predator, as we know, we saw earlier, went through its own designs. But like, I think what works about it is actually the mandible thing, and like its culture. Just it's kind of centered around its whole culture, really, because
mandible culture.
Even if we didn't know what it looked like,
because it has sentience, which is something the alien from Aliens does not have. It has honor, it has rules, it has things that it doesn't just operate on instinct. It operates by rules it has set for itself. Social rules, rules of engagement.
Yeah, I mean, we never really get to see it eat. So, like, how do the mandibles work?
Right.
Well, actually, you do get to see it. You do get to see it, or they do talk about it eating, because an Alien or Predator.
Oh, they talk.
Yeah, it
they
goes
talk.
in. It goes in there. It goes in there, and it goes in and eats beef. It has a taste for beef.
Show don't tell, Herman. Come on, author. All right, show don't tell.
Well, you know what? You can either
have
show
a
the Predator, or you can show Gary Busey.
Oh, sorry. Something happened to his connection. We're not going to be showing Predators to anybody, actually, as it turns out. But
it could feed like a lamprey, like a sea lamprey. That's what I think of when I see mandibles like that. Is like they actually extend all the way out, and they're meant for latching on. You know.
Dude, the writers never thought of it, honestly. But Pritchard's here, like, no, really, honestly, man.
I need to see this thing drink.
It's a very specific type of fish creature that, like, they.
I'm saying it could be. I'm not.
No, I know. I just
saying it could be.
I love when you think about this stuff.
You know an alien that you know an alien design that we need, the anglerfish. Do you know how they breed? Well, I'm going to tell you. Anyway,
please.
The female anglerfish are like something like 10 or 11 times bigger than the male ones.
Fuck yeah.
And so it doesn't lay eggs that are eventually fertilized by the male. The male attaches itself physically to the bloodstream of the female and is eventually absorbed by the female for nutrients to feed to the children. It's a horrifying animal. And by the way, the biggest one they have on record is 6 or 7 feet long.
Wow.
And it's a horrifying animal.
40K.
Oh yeah.
This is some lore sauce.
So what you're saying is that the anglerfish is a simp.
Yes. Actually, I think I've seen that meme.
It really does represent the modern American online relationship between men and women.
Actually, I think we're onto something here. Just look at the most non-human.
All of society is going to end up being anglerfish and simping and being absorbed by women.
Forget about lobsters. Forget about them. Forget everything you knew about ocean critters.
Yes. Anglerfish aliens. Seahorse aliens.
A seahorse alien.
Hey, seahorses.
I'm terrified, but it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Seahorses. The male seahorse carries the babies.
Just like
there's a frog. Anyway. There's a frog in South America. I don't know the name of it.
No, I don't
talk about
all right, guys.
I don't know. I don't like
the babies burrow into the mother's back like a bunch of little pimples, like a bunch of little wood ticks.
I love Pritchard, man.
And it's the most disgusting shit you've ever seen. Literally into the flesh of the mother's back, and they live there like a fucking infection or something.
Yes,
and,
they do.
It's the only thing I've ever seen in nature. I've seen death. I've seen like just like hyenas lapping up blood and laughing about it, like just evil shit. Just the most horrific shit. But this is the only thing that made me like gag when I saw it. I was like,
I couldn't even listen.
I got something that can make you.
Then they like squirm out and swim away.
Oh no!
All right, hey guys, I'm sorry to do this. We could talk forever, and we probably will. But it is getting to that time. We're going to start wrapping it up real quick. We're going to start off, no pressure. Battsauce.
Battsauce.
Well,
share your wisdom. Anyway, Herman, it's your turn.
Speak your truth. Speak your truth.
They tried to silence me from talking about Jupiter ascending. This is bullshit.
He said it wrong again.
I said it right that time.
Juniper.
So I recently released a video. Check it out. It is a review on The Black Crown by John A. Douglas.
Tremendous.
Yeah, please check it out because review videos get 0 views. So, and I think it's a book worth reading. Check me out on Twitter so you know which channel to watch this on next week. At Battsauce, and my YouTube. Check it out at Battsauce. Check out my Substacks. Got my book on it for free. Battsauce. And so Battsauce, guys. Check it out. Like the video if you haven't already. And yeah, I got a book. Oh, later.
You're really selling me on it, brother. Let me tell you.
Is there AI in like slave?
What's it called?
Yeah.
Dust Edge? Is it
Dust Edge, Dawn Edge. Well, I can't sit here and do the pitch every time. I mean, I got a great advertisement for it. If you want to link it up, I got really great words from Joe Rogan.
We have
Alex
the best
Jones.
words. Tremendous words.
That is a good.
They really had some great things to say about my book. I was really excited to hear them talk about it. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff, man. Herman, sire, where can we find you? Where do you live?
Actually, I have a video coming out on tomorrow. Actually, on my channel, the Herman P. Hunter's The Lore Forge. And I'm actually starting a new video quote series unquote. That's more geared towards readers. You can find me at my website hphunterwriter.com, Twitter, Minds, Getter, Gab, this place.
Real famous.
Gilded. Yeah, hang on.
Why'd you call me?
That's what I was going to phone call too.
Were we all getting called from?
What's happening here?
Kahuna, what'd you do? You called all of us.
I'm beginning to feel a sense of isolation here. Everybody's getting a call, and I'm not. I'm going to have to weep for the children again. Clean your room.
That's what happens when you don't clean your room.
And my book's coming out on May 21st. So buy my book.
I'll go on another bender. I'll do it. For it. That's so messed up.
I'll eat nothing but steak for a month and then not sleep for 3 months.
I do that.
I would. That's living the life, actually.
Yeah.
Just have like a nice drink and a cigar. And
that much protein. I'm surprised you wouldn't be able to get to sleep.
Mr. Everly Music, tell us where we can find you, where you live, where we can buy your stuff.
Where we
can listen. Oh, go ahead.
Where we can find you.
Yes. I'm on all the places where you listen to music.
You came to my daughter's wedding.
That's true. I watched that movie in 2 times speed. So you can find all my music on like anywhere you listen to music. I did 3 chiptune albums. They're like chiptune rock metal, and then I did one that was like, I don't know, metalcore type stuff. I was on the record with AC over here for Tempered Records, Iron Age music, and
boy,
First Strike. We got more stuff coming up in the works for that. I believe I've done music for different artists in this little sphere here, and more things to come.
Intro, Conan?
An intro
or an outro? Got it. Yeah.
I pitched something and I didn't hear anything back. So yes, definitely for sure. I got it in the works. It's coming. So yeah, you can listen to me those places, and I'm kicking around with these guys here for the foreseeable future. So
hell yeah,
Tuesday night, way past my bedtime, but I'm here.
He also recently did an updated version of the song from my channel, The Ultimate Kahuna. And so I'll be reintegrating that into the intro here for a bit more footage. But it sounds so good, dude. It's awesome. A.C. Pritchard, tell us where we can feel your kahuna. Wait, what? Never mind.
My kahunas are available on Amazon.com/author.
Only kahunas. The only place for the only kahunas.
Amazon.com/AC Pritchard. Every purchase of the book, I directly put into developing the comic and other things like for my author career. So every sale of that actually directly helps. You can also find free stuff on pritchardpub.substack.com. I have an ongoing fantasy story there for all ages. I talked about it earlier in the podcast, how I'm going to put deep ones there. That'll be fun. Imbuing a little Lovecraft into that in a tactful way. But you can also find past episodes and future ones of Iron Seas and my other podcast, Pritchard Pub, on the Substack and Spotify, pritchardpub.substack.com. Pretty simple. You can check out Pritchard Pub every Thursday at 7 or 8 p.m. Central. Check it out this week. We have James Craik on there. He's a sci-fi guy. It's been a sci-fi kick lately, so we'll probably talk about like Warhammer and some of the similar topics that we talked about here. It's kind of nice having multiple shows because I can kind of like have them rhyme like that. Like when Fallout came out, I was able to dip my toe into Fallout a little bit on every show I was on, you know. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. You can follow me on X, A_C_Pritchard.
Oh hell, okay. Yeah, we can watch this as our kind of closeout for the show. That's fantastic. Right. Good idea.
There's a book I've been reading. Me getting into this, Joe, is just because so people need to understand that I've known about this for a long time, and I just don't think people are ready for it.
Can you tell me about it?
Literally have an alien base, and they are literally communicating, and they've got like astronaut level people taking super hardcore levels of drugs. All these basically elves, aliens, come out of the woods, and we're all seeing the same aliens.
So what you're saying is essentially that they're using psychedelic drugs to communicate with interdimensional beings. All right.
Yeah, spirit guides.
Okay. The story sounds insane. It's kind of scary, man. These chemicals open up this doorway, and this is the portal to the next dimension.
Here's what the elite believes. The elves are biological androids, the Greys. And then there's other systems going on, and no one knows because it's all warfare, psychological stuff. No one knows the truth because it's virtual reality once you get to that level. So no one knows. But if they can trick a tadpole that's going to grow into Godzilla to go kill itself, they're winning. So the elves are a test. The elves are a test on us to attack us and see the survival of the fittest. I don't want this to sound arrogant. It's not. I've seen everything. So if you read it, it says controlled by the globalist programmers who believe with the off-world entities they're in communication with, that they're going to be given the operation to upload and be in that larger kind of board cube system if they sell the country out. At first, it's all beautiful, and soon you're an Aztec base, kidnapping all the local tribes and killing whoever's the tallest or the smartest. Every time it gets controlled, it starts murdering everybody. And it always starts beautiful. It always starts great. 15 years.
You just lost me.
Well, I'm going to tell you the story.
You said he's smart.
He's a nice guy.
True or false? The Mayans smoked penis blood.
They did.
They did.
Alex Jones does not actually endorse this book, but if he were to read it, he would.
You're fake news.
That is longer than I remember. Jeez.
No, that was fun. That was fun.
There are all levels of disturbed in that advertisement and possibly the book. I think all of you need
I think
probably about several years of therapy.
If you guys want to smoke penis blood and take psychedelics, you should probably read that book. The man sounds like a maniac. But, you know.
Dude, the part about kidnapping local Aztec tribes is super compelling. Actually, just that little segment.
Idea.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's a.
You ever seen the memes that go around Twix? Sometimes it's like change one letter to ruin a whatever. Change that L to an S.
What
in your book? What's your book called? Change the L to an S.
What?
More
babes. Okay. Yeah, but it's Dawn Edge. So Planet of Babel, Dawn Edge, but
Planet of Babes, Dawn Edge.
Right. Planet of Babes. Dawn Edge. You know, Emily, that's the porn knockoff. We'll write it. It'll be great.
Planet of the Babes.
We're gonna write smut just like the Fourth Wing when we. Oh yeah, Battsauce, you were in on that too.
I was not. I showed up for like 2 seconds because it was like 5 in the morning in Italy.
Bro,
no, that was
if you,
Berserk.
if,
That was something else.
Authors, anybody, if you ever, even you for writing music, if you want to feel better about anything you've ever written, read The Fourth Wing. It's not the bottom of the barrel in its genre, but it's. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, Herman, you tried. It was bad.
It was
It
bad.
was so bad.
Oh my god. I got to chapter
It's like
5, and I'm like
she's giving her entire gender a bad name. We have R.H. Snow in here. Women can write. We have proof right here.
Yeah, there's good women writers for sure. There's good men. Dude, people are people. I mean, you can have good writers. So there's
Full
no
Metal
excuse.
Alchemist is one of the best stories ever written, by a woman.
Truth be told, you have authors, and then you have female authors, and it's just
Right.
no, I'm kidding.
It's not like driving.
Oh,
I'm
like
just kidding.
comedians.
I'm just
Oh.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I love
I
women.
know. We love you, women. We love you.
My favorite person. My favorite people.
And Snow, we love you. You are a great writer. I need to read your second book here soon because I want to have you on Iron Age Legends. But guys, we're gonna wrap it right there. My quick shill is that, well, this is the YouTube channel for the
Ultimate Kahuna. Thank you for joining us aboard the Iron Seas of Fate. Woo!